Yes, we haven't seen each other for a while, so it's exciting.
You tell me when I can switch the cord.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hold on.
Did Sarah say, okay, so we know Nicole tonight. I feel like Sarah said she was gonna be late.
Sarah said she'd be late.
Right, she did
I think
say
she
that.
said like 6:45.
Recording in progress.
Okay, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Woo. Thank you for coming to the Sheridan Parks and Recreation Committee meeting. This was a postponed meeting from last week to January 25th, 2024. And so we're gonna go ahead and do our call to order.
Sandoval,
Here.
Myers,
Present.
Cunningham,
Here.
Buckles,
Here.
Hebert,
Here.
Gilliard,
She will be running late.
Pugh,
She's excused absent.
right here. Oh, can you guys turn your microphone?
Oh, sure. Oh, I don't.
Oh, you had it right.
Oh, I had it in?
Yeah.
Oh, you want them on. Okay. Just
Thank
keep
you.
them on the whole time?
Yeah.
That works. Alright. Doing our, we haven't done this before. Have we done the Pledge of Allegiance in our meetings now? We've done it before.
I apologize. That's my mistake.
Okay, alright. Do you want to do it? It's up to you. I mean, we don't have to. Okay, yeah. It's okay. I mean, we're not as formal as city council, so. Okay, alright, so then we're gonna go ahead and go on to, section B, which is talking about the term limits, appointing the chair and vice chair.
Is it good about your packet? Oh. Was I supposed to print it off? Do we have
We could, do you have an extra packet? No, I'll go make a copy.
Oh, I should have printed off, sorry.
That's okay.
Usually you guys just hand it to me. My apologies. You're running around today.
I think I may have taken your copy on accident, cause I didn't request a copy, but then my printer wasn't working, so I emailed Amanda, but she probably didn't see it, so I had to tell her. I have an extra.
I forgot my name.
Oh, okay.
No. All my stuff is in my.
Okay, so Cindy's gonna go make a copy.
Thank you.
So, at this moment, we don't have any new applications for the empty, do we have an empty spot still, or?
Just in the non-voting position,
Just the non-voting,
even
okay.
though I think we've handed out quite a few, but none of them have been returned. So, I can help with this first part. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so annually it is required, that a chair and a vice chair be voted on. And since, I will lead us through the election of the chair process, and then the chair will lead the process for the selection of a vice chair. So, committee members can nominate each other or themselves. At this time, we'll, have any nominations from the floor.
I nominate Kira.
Okay, is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, do you accept?
I accept.
Okay, are there any other nominations? Any other members? Okay, then, we went until there's no more nominations. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, how many people are not here?
Sarah and Nicole.
Sarah and Nicole, and Sarah's gonna be here later, and Nicole is
Okay, I'm just
not
concerned
here.
we're having a vote with so many people, with people missing.
Just
You have
two.
quorum.
Yeah, we have enough. You have quorum.
Okay, so no other discussion? Okay, Omega, the deputy city reporter, will take a roll call vote.
Sandoval,
Of course, you can.
Myers?
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Buckles,
Yes.
Hebert,
Yes.
Sarah, Gilliard,
Yeah.
Nicole.
All right, congratulations.
Yay.
Yes. Okay, Carol, will you please, or Chair, will you please lead the process of vice chair?
Okay, does anybody have any nominations for vice chair? I will nominate Kay for vice chair.
Is there a second?
I have a question.
Sure.
Does it have to be somebody from here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I nominate Ernie.
Okay.
You did that last time when I ended up running the committee down.
Yes.
It's your turn.
Oh, was there a second?
I second Kay.
Okay.
You did such a good job last time.
Yeah, right.
Second.
Don't miss any
You're
meetings,
a
please.
natural.
Does Kay accept?
I do. I
Okay.
don't have more energy than the rest of us, so
Are-
please.
Are there any other nominations? Is there a formal nomination for Ernie? There was a first, is there a second?
I think he declined. Did you decline?
Yeah.
Okay, well then,
In favor of Kay.
are there any, thank you, Sandy, are there any other nominations? Doesn't look like it. Okay, Chairman, you wanna call for a vote?
Okay, we'll go ahead and call for a vote for Kay for vice chair.
Sandoval,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Cunningham,
Yes.
Buckles,
Yes.
Hebert,
Yeah,
Hilliard.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay.
Congratulations, Vice Chair. Yay, Kay.
Alright. Yeah, okay, so now, also talking about term limits.
Great, so we do need to assign some term limits to these. What, we did not, like, why did the bottom not fill in on this?
Because those are the ones that we decided today,
But does it say in our new rules, every
Because
3
it-
years?
it says every 3 years, however, we originally had,
Chaos.
2, 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we need to decide, so then the next set would be 12, 31, 25, and there should be 2 for that. And then at 12, 31, 26, and there should be 2 for that, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we need 2 of you for a term limit ending in 25. So that would be Nicole, Buckles, Hebert, Hilliard, and 2 of you for ending in 12, 31, 26.
Should we nominate or should we just
I
say
think,
what?
is this a question or what?
Yes, I am asking you to fill that. So that's a question
this is
for
like January
You
of
guys.
those years.
it's
12
December
and
31st.
yeah.
Of those years. December 31st of
December
those years.
31st.
Since you have 3 for 24, you'll need 2 for 25 and 2 for 2026, which brings you to 7 people.
And so, what are we doing? Are we nominating people for these spots? What
That's
do we do?
To you guys to decide, the
Okay.
chair can assign
Or
them,
if you
whatever
guys,
want.
if somebody wants to say, you know, oh,
I nominate me till 26.
Well, you are 2024,
you-
you're listed.
we're already
Okay,
listed,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
As long as I keep this going so I can
Yeah.
get what I
We
want
just-
done.
But then we just have to reapply in December before the end of the year so that we can stay on. That's what we have to do.
Thank you.
yes, so,
I think Ernie should stay until 26. How's that?
okay,
Wait, what do you
You
guys
want
say?
that, you want that riverfront.
Yes, I know.
I mean, if Ernie, if you're okay with that, I agree too.
Okay,
And then, do we wanna, I would say, Kay, would you also stay on
Yes.
till 26?
I would,
Okay,
as long as I'm kicking. I'm here.
and then the other 2 are 25s.
I think that works.
Perfect. Okay, that'll keep track of all of our records better and get us back on track. So there was an issue since you adopted new rules.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now we're all caught up for the future of forever.
Okay. Sounds good, alright. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? We have an addition, right?
Yes, I
Okay.
asked, Omega to allow me some time to talk about the
That's actually
skate park.
on the very last item before adjournment,
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
there's a spot for you.
Committee member comments.
Oh, the comments, okay,
Yes.
so it's not necessarily an addition to the agenda though, okay. Anything else? Anybody else have anything? Chad? No? Okay. Alright, then we'll go ahead and we're on D, public comment period. So if there's anybody, yes.
Sorry, do you wanna handle the next page in here, page 2, which is the tentative draft date?
Oh, yeah, the tentative draft, okay, so,
Oh, those should all say 2024. That's my.
yeah,
That's like the right dates, not the
the
correct
dates
year.
for the years wrong,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, so as of right now,
Yes, I did.
our meeting schedule is still on the third Thursday of the month. So that means that our next scheduled meeting is tentative for February 15th. But there's apparently a few things happening that same night that might conflict, so yes, Omega.
Also, planning commission is inviting, Parks and Recs to join for their, it's an ODOT presentation for
Okay.
February 12th at 6:30 here at City Hall. So that is a special one, so I don't know if you guys wanna swap your February 15th and make that your,
But they would.
but it wouldn't be an action item for Parks and Recs.
Right.
So it would be up to you if you wanna have two basically meetings in one month.
And that's a Monday, okay.
Yeah, so on Monday, February 12th, you're invited to attend the planning commission meeting because they wanted to be sure that you knew that there's an ODOT representative coming. And what she does is she gives a lot of information about pedestrians and walkability and how to design a city that's centered around walkability and traffic these days and what all that kind of looks like. And so that is a park subject in a lot of ways.
That's amazing that you said that, because it just came from the gas station, and one of the things that people there were trying to tell me is about sidewalks and the rest home and all this, and could I bring it up in this meeting? I'm like, well, no, it's not really part of this meeting, but it would be part of that meeting.
That's the ODOT, yes, and so that's ODOT that,
They're gonna be doing a petition or a letter or.
are you talking about the rest home that's on Main Street?
Yeah.
So that petition would go to ODOT, that's an ODOT road.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, and she will be here on the 12th, so that's a
Perfect.
great place
I told her
to
to-
even bring that.
I said, get it done, give it to me, and I'll give it to Power of the Beat.
Very good.
Yeah.
Um,
I think,
okay.
I think that moving the February date to that Monday, the 12th would be good, I don't know if
Yeah,
that
wasn't there something going on the 15th?
yeah, there's, I guess,
Oh, there's a city county dinner, the city of Amity has invited the city of
Yeah,
Sheridan
so the
City
15th
Council.
wouldn't work anyway, right?
Well, there's none of you that are on city council, and so it's just for the city councils,
So you would.
and I'm not going.
Well, what do you-
Huh?
I know,
So you can keep the 15th, but if you, on the 12th, it's just an invitation, there's
Okay.
not the ability for you to have your meeting because the planning commission is having their meeting. So you can decide what you wanna do for that.
okay.
What time was that planning commission meeting?
At 6:30.
Good question.
Yeah,
I have a question. If we get back to what we were doing with the, with these, appointees and dates and what have you, I'm sorry, cause I'm communicating outside as well. We do still have an open, non-voting seat, yes?
Correct.
yes.
Okay, and you have or have not received any applications for that?
We have handed out quite a few, but none have came in.
Okay, we have a viewer that's watching us right now that,
Do we have any?
No, I don't have anyone here.
It's
well,
probably on the YouTube,
it's wherever it is,
yeah.
they say they haven't gotten to City Hall yet, but I'm watching right now though. And they they want to have that position. So I just wanted to throw that out there. That person would need to go ahead and fill that paperwork out, bring it in, be reviewed by council, by Mary Ann,
Sorry,
council,
by Mary Ann.
etc. So I know they're listening, so now you know the process. Had the paperwork been turned in by now, we might be welcoming that person at this moment because we're right here now discussing those positions.
Correct, right. Okay.
Get your thing turned in, dude.
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't see any other dates, I don't know, is there any other dates that might be, any conflicts that people might see?
not right
Not for me.
So are we wanting to keep, February 15th, and also we will be also seeing you guys on the 12th?
I think that's correct.
Okay, yeah. That sounds good.
Let me check my,
Yep, sounds good. I'm good with that.
hold on.
So then the November, no, what, November,
Thanksgiving, I think she means it's a week earlier than Thanksgiving. So November 14th.
It would have fallen otherwise on the 21st.
right,
Um,
Thanksgiving is the 28th this year.
let me look at the,
Whoa.
Maybe people were busy, but I get it, I mean, it's the third
Yeah,
Wednesday in the same,
because on, yeah, my calendar's showing the 28th is Thanksgiving Day,
on the last week.
yeah.
I
Oh,
think the 21st is
then
appropriate.
let's keep 21st if you guys don't.
yeah,
Yeah.
the 21st, then it's,
Because we don't meet in December, so that means that's the last week.
Where are we, November?
Yeah, we're in November,
We're going
yeah, so
November
keep it on the
21?
21st, yeah,
Okay,
and then,
I have to be in San Francisco on May 17th.
okay,
So you're gonna miss it?
so you would miss the
I
16th.
would either, yeah, I'd have to miss it, and I can drive there, I can drive there and make it.
Yeah. And then, so then the December meeting is the week before Christmas. And I don't know if we actually wanna meet in December, cause I think we've
typically not.
typically have taken a break for December, right?
Yeah,
So,
No meeting?
no
no meeting in December, okay,
Yay. We're still Christmas shopping.
okay, yeah. Okay,
Okay.
then that sounds good, alright. Alright, now, if we have any public comments, if you have anything that you wanted to stand up and talk about, you have about 3 minutes. Relevant to Park and Rec or not listed as an agenda item. Anybody? Okay. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and go on to E, approval of our minutes, and thank you, Mega, it's okay, we understand.
I had those minutes before, and then I was indisposed the day that Deisha came in here and took over, and then she's like, oh, I forgot to put the minutes, I'm like, oh, we put it in next time, and then I forgot again, and I'm like, oh man.
That's okay.
It's bad.
It's okay.
We'll have them done for the next meeting.
Yeah,
Yes, I will.
I don't think there was anything that I noticed when I went through, when I read over everything. It was interesting, cause I'm like, I don't remember talking about this, but it was so long ago.
Yeah, that's the importance of keeping.
Right, yeah, yeah, I don't think, so if there is anybody,
I didn't see anything except, again, it was a minor, it's the date thing again on page 25 at the bottom. It says the next meeting will be January 2023.
no,
Of course, it would have been 2024, you
Yeah.
know, but that's minor, that's it.
Where at?
Page 25 of the packet. At the bottom, under J, City Manager's Report, and, yeah, that was minor, it's very minor
oh, yeah.
Oh,
dates.
we're gonna say,
Yeah. Due dates for applications are December 12th of 2023. Next Park and Rec meeting will be held January 18th, 2023.
It says 2023 on there. so.
Yeah. Just
Just needs to be corrected to say 2024.
I see what you mean.
minor, it's very
Yeah.
minor, that's all.
Yes, sorry about that. Okay, can I add something to that one?
Sure.
I was gonna say, I forgot to add Kenny's, name under the staff.
Uh-huh.
I was,
Oh, that he was in attendance?
correct, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, see, minor.
Okay. And that's the only one?
Yes, that I saw, yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I will move to accept all meeting minutes, as corrected.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright. Minutes been approved. Okay. Now we'd like to invite our friends of the Sheridan Parks up to give their monthly presentation.
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
You can hear me. Seems like it's been a while since I've been in front of you guys, so I thank you for the opportunity. A lot of different things I wanted to get you guys updated on. We recently had a fundraiser. We participated in Sheridan's Holiday Bazaar in December, and we were the only actually nonprofit there. We sold items at $5 each and raised $290.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Also, we just found out today that we have another grant for $500, so we're very excited about that. That should be more than enough for us to establish our community garden, get the new sprinkler system in, and build more beds. We're getting some interest from the public, so we're very excited about that. One of our members is working with the Master Gardeners program. They're planning on having a garden to table classes. They'll have 3 in March and another 3 in April. Typically speaking, when they have those classes, a lot of times we will extend an opportunity for them to have some garden beds in the community garden. So we're anticipating that that's going to happen. We have 3 different sizes. We've got 4x4s, there's about 8 of those out there, 2 6x6s and 2 4x8s. So whatever people are interested in having, if we don't have it, we will certainly be building those. We also, and just stop me if I'm going too fast, or if you have any questions before I move on to another. Sure, go ahead.
How would someone who's interested in getting a bed contact, and then, get a price range too for?
Sure. Yeah, we have some, paperwork we can give them on suggested donations. Again, we're a nonprofit, so, if a person has a hardship and cannot afford to donate money, we certainly can cover that, but we do have some suggested donations for the various different sizes of the beds, and a small price for irrigation that will go directly to their beds, so they don't have to go there every day and water.
Do they email you or do they phone you?
Right now we have, we've got a sign up over at the new community garden, with phone number, contact there. We just actually got somebody that contacted City Hall just like yesterday. And I just gave Omega the information. Gabe Pentecost is going to be our coordinator.
Okay.
And so her contact information has been given. Obviously, when we're starting to, we're gonna be putting a campaign together, sending out flyers and such to especially the apartments and the RV park. And so there'll be, all that contact information will be there. We'll also be putting some ads in the paper for people who are interested, so they can get a hold of somebody. Go ahead, Alicia.
So, who builds the beds themselves, and do you do ADA beds or do you do raised beds?
We do raised beds now, all of ours are double high,
Double high.
and our team builds them.
Okay, that's
We've
what I
got some
thought.
volunteers who
Okay.
help us do that.
And if you would like to, in my store, even post, if you'd like to be a volunteer for that, I would be delighted to put that in the window.
Oh, that would be awesome,
I think that would be a really good tie with our gardening, indoor
exactly,
gardening.
absolutely,
Okay.
yeah,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Okay, could you also put some information when you have it available in the library?
Oh, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and probably even have a little flyer in the city hall too, so that might forego you having to deal with people on the phone. Go ahead.
And I was curious, just to retouch on that, so you've given information to Omega,
Mhm.
you forwarded information to City Hall,
Mhm.
and I know the city has their own website. Is there going to be a link that's on the city's website to find you, or is that a conflict, or what's going on there?
Yeah, we don't typically have any other links on it to outside things, but
So this is a complete separate entity of,
yes, they're a nonprofit.
they're,
Yeah, with a
okay,
nonprofit.
okay.
We can just help.
It used to
Right.
be,
I just find that would be such an easy way
there
to
used to be a
find
list
that.
on the website of the nonprofits
There is.
locally, so.
A little, yes, that has been revisited
Okay.
and visited again, and I don't know exactly where we are on that, but, it is very difficult to keep up with.
Right.
I will say
Yeah.
that, especially as people's leadership changes and all of that, so.
Right, and I find, I'm sorry, and I find all kinds of literature out here on these tables and what
Yep.
have you. That is a spot that it could be left,
That
that there
is,
could be, excellent.
we do that for our nonprofits.
Wonderful.
Okay, good to know. Okay, any other questions before? Yeah,
I
sure.
should have one. I was curious about, is there a reason why you guys did not take all of that dirt from the old location to the new one? Cause there was quite a bit of dirt.
Did you wanna come up here, Paul?
Yeah, all the dirt that was over there, if you remember, there was a lot of weed that, grew in those areas.
Oh, yeah.
And I did not think it was necessary for us to try to get all that and transfer over, since we had such a wonderful donation from people, with
Yes.
Alicia
That's right,
and Brad Myers, and
some really good.
their company worked on somebody in, New, or somewhere out
Thank
north.
you.
Yes, and so we got plenty of soil and stuff, so, we didn't think it was necessary to do that, and I talked to Ken also about this when I was
Yeah.
working on that old garden. And I mentioned to him about the dirt, and he said, don't worry about the dirt problem, you can just leave it.
Okay.
Cause when they're getting ready to do whatever they're gonna do with it,
They'll just
they
spread
can
it
just grade it out or whatever, it's
Yeah.
just dirt, so it's,
Okay.
he said it's not a problem, so, that's where that's at.
Okay.
If that answers the question. Yes.
Paul, and you might also wanna talk to myself and Brad about scrap lumber, as far as, we have a lot of old lumber being shocked.
All right.
Hey,
I'll make a note.
my last question,
Uh-huh.
where's the cow? Where's the cow that we had that was in the beds? Where did
I've
you-
got it,
Yeah, okay, good. I'm worried, because that was an awesome,
it's over
awesome
there,
addition.
I'll be
So-
painting, I'll be kind of painting that up, getting it freshened up.
So Heidi's like looking at me like, what are you talking about? There was, a few years ago, they did, the high school did create their metal shop. They put together these little care animals, and they did kind of like a flock your yard thing and sent like the barnyard, and people could purchase those guys, and the former city manager purchased the cow to put in the community garden. So we have
So
a
we have a
cow.
mascot, we'll be sure to bring
I
her
think
on.
we named
think
her
we need to
Bessie,
name
I think it was Bessie.
Bessie is
I
a
think
very
that's
good
what we
name
named
for
her.
the cow.
Oh,
It's that time.
yeah.
It's that time.
What a great idea. Try it in my building. You're absolutely
Thank you.
What a great idea. A mascot competition.
Yeah.
Businesses, local businesses. Oh my gosh,
That would be fun.
that is so fun. Do you think that my
Name the
girls would
mascot
adopt
or
that?
something,
Do you think that my girls wouldn't, like, and, I mean, what a fun idea.
yeah,
Mascot competition,
yeah,
like your animal or, I mean, fun. It'll get people involved in your garden.
I like that idea,
I'm loving that idea.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, but see, the brain goes, let's use wordplay. Let's use wordplay here, monthly mascot. Which
Oh.
business will host monthly mascot?
Oh,
Oh, you're good.
Ooh.
Okay, this is fun, I love it, okay.
Okay.
I'm on.
How would that benefit the parks? That's my question. How would that
They have
benefit
to
the
cut
parks?
it apart to make
It's
it.
gonna benefit the fact that they pay
Well, you started
attention.
this.
The public
Right.
and the other businesses pay attention.
Yeah.
Because how many people don't notice,
that's true,
it
it is true, yeah.
I'm shocked that people don't know that you're, I mean, I've been trained.
Well, even in the
something,
old community garden,
Yeah.
a lot of people didn't know about
But
that.
it was so
either.
small, this
And
is such a bigger deal.
And it was even more central and still
Yes.
people didn't know that the
Yeah.
garden was
Right,
there.
right, yeah.
It's a perfect spot. for
It is, yeah.
Visualization.
I mean, I
People-
drive by
Exactly.
so often and I'm just like, there's the garden, and I think the location now is perfect
Oh, yeah.
to bring in all those people that are living in the RV park.
Right?
Or how about
That don't have yards.
You go, what is that?
Riverfront apartment.
In the apartments there, yeah.
I think it's a great location. Myself, when I drive by, I don't even notice it.
Really?
That's just me. When I drive by, all I recognize and realize is recycling center. That's all I see and realize. There is a huge fence all the way across the front there that I don't know how what you guys wanna come up with, you wanna do, or if you don't wanna do anything at all, whatever. This is just my perspective as a person driving by. Hold on, please. If there was some great big banner out there,
Yes, we've got.
I mean, they're
about that.
very inexpensive to make, to get a banner made, if you know
Yeah.
who to get it made from. That
Right.
says this is here. So I think, I just think that would be more helpful. The only thing designating that intersection right there is constant police traffic across the street and an RV park.
Right.
So I don't know what it's gonna take to make,
Well, I think when things start growing in there and we start seeing like flowers and plants and all
I
kinds of good
love
stuff,
it.
it'll be a lot more, I think it'll be a lot more noticeable.
and-
Right
and
now, it's
maybe
kind
even-
of resting.
Maybe going so far as to, and I don't know how much out of your spot you can go, but even planting sunflowers along the fence line.
Right.
Yeah,
would
we
say,
said that in the
hello,
past.
hello, look at us.
Right.
I
Yeah.
second that.
Sunflowers.
If I may,
Sunflowers.
if I may mention, the talk of sunflowers and everything, that's something that Gay and some of us have talked about already.
Yeah.
That's in our agenda.
It's in the
Awesome.
works.
And,
It's in the
and,
works, yeah.
also I wanted to add that, as far as signs, something to get your attention more, to the garden. Sometime back, I spoke to about speaking to somebody here in town,
Yes.
that do signs and stuff for
Right.
forestry service.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And, I got in touch with them, they just, there was nothing to be done at the time because we just weren't far enough to really go forward with that, you know?
Yes.
But I do hope and intend to still follow up with talking to them and see what it's gonna take to possibly get some kind of a sign that's gonna be very visual, that's gonna draw attention that can be put in there, so that's one of our future plans to do that.
Right, when I don't know if we're on the same page, I think somewhat we are, right, we're mostly, and this is your project, not mine, I'm just giving 2 cents as a citizen, okay? I don't know what kind of sign it would make and what size it would be, but it sounds to me like for the forestry department, it's gonna be very industrious and strong and long lasting, but I'm imagining my head's gonna be a sign like this. Okay, and I don't know what's gonna cost me, probably anywhere from $100 to $300 for the sign, if it's not donated, I don't know. But in my business, we use a lot of those types of things on stages and what have you, signage, and they call it a scrim. Now a scrim, it's got the holes so the wind blows through it, so it's not blown off the stage. And you can get a scrim like 20 feet by 5 feet high for
Right.
$75.
Right,
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Opposed to seeing a sign this big.
right. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's-
we'll be looking into.
Yeah,
how we're gonna do
we've
that.
got a meeting on Monday and I'll add the banner.
Yeah, sometimes
as one of
seeking-
our items that we talk about.
Yeah, sometimes seeking outside of your local area, bless everybody, and we all want to prosper here. But sometimes we look at the big picture, right? I was gonna have t-shirts made local. They wanted $3,000, what somebody else did for $400.
Wow,
Right.
okay,
It makes sense, dollars and cents.
right, absolutely. Okay.
I have a
Oh,
question.
yeah, Alicia,
Do you have a power source?
we do, we have an
Because
electricity
I
and water.
am investigating this as well. I've been driving around just looking at businesses, and I don't mean here.
Yeah.
I mean in Dundee where I live, out by
Oh,
the airport, different places like my own. And how do they show up? Because Brad wants this beautiful big sign to be built that's made out of wood and all these things. The lighting is such a big deal.
Yeah,
Have you guys ever seen a popcorn place between Dundee and Newburgh?
No.
OMG, I mean, it's like, what is this? And
is that Cannon's popcorn, is that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we love it.
Yes, but if you look at it's so simple. And I was out by the airport, I met friends at the airport, and there was a kind of a feed and seed like mine, a garden center, and the lighting, all they had was these pops of like
Okay,
lighting, white things that,
sure.
and it was beautiful. And then I remembered Kel's Gardens, by our Salem store. And it's the same thing, it had these lights, and it's so simple,
Yeah,
and it's so pretty.
and what's nice is that if we did establish a banner, then putting some lighting along with it, somebody could see it even in the middle of the night, so.
It's
Good idea.
beautiful, and I'm on that myself, so it might work for you too.
Yeah, I like that, I'm gonna definitely share that with the team. All right, I was gonna get on with street signs, does anybody have any other questions though before I get on with that? So we've actually got 2 street signs now for the community garden, and we're working with Ken at Public Works. He feels that perhaps the sign should be green instead of blue, so he's gonna help us with that. So we wanna put those strategically, you do know what I mean, strategically up, so that people can see them from either direction
Yes.
on
From
Bridge,
Street.
right?
Very nice.
Since it's right there on Sheridan and Bridge.
You're talking about signage showing how to get there?
It just says community garden and there's
It's
like an arrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We used to
Like a
have,
little street sign.
yeah, we used to have it right here on the corner of,
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Mill
Mill
Street.
on Monroe and,
Right.
or Morgan and Monroe.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah,
No.
there used to be one right on the corner over here where our garden is at.
Yeah,
where the
that's,
one
yeah,
used to
that's
be.
one.
Yeah.
Melon.
And I can't recall.
Well, there
the
was
other
also
one.
one up here on this corner, so there were 2. So,
But the 2 locations that I was talking to Ken, and I think people in our group, friends of Sheridan, and we thought the best location would be right here on Bridge Street, the main street here. One coming from this direction where they can see it on Bridge, and the other coming from this direction on Bridge. Placed somewhere just before the turnoff right here going to the garden to Sheridan Road. That's, unless you guys have other suggestions where you think it might be a better place to locate to
Or
put them.
additional
Location.
street signs if we need them, you know, since Maine is another thoroughfare that we may wanna have that on,
Yeah.
so.
My concern was, and not even a concern, just input was that if it was going, my first thought was that you were talking about a street sign at the entrance to the garden. But that's not a street, that's just a driveway, correct?
Correct, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and we know that we may or may not know this, different colored signage when it comes to street and what have you,
Yeah.
don't denotes state, city, county, private. So that's, I don't know if you're looking into that or what,
Right,
you know, would it matter for that because you guys are putting up something that's from a nonprofit? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, I just know that I know that they originally were blue, right? They're blue.
Yes, they are.
And I don't know if there was a reason why were ordered in blue or.
I'll look into
I
it.
have
Yeah,
I have a
we would
suggestion
appreciate any input on that.
about blue, okay, so I live in
Kenny
wine
and I will
country.
look into it, cause there's a code for it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought.
Cause I
We'll
live
dive a
in
little
wine
deeper
country
into
and
it.
all the wineries are blue,
Oh, is
We'll
that?
dive a little
Yes.
deeper into it.
so
I
it's,
wouldn't mind
it's,
being associated with
might
a
be
winery.
associated, well, what I'm saying is that it says your scenic tour in Oregon, the scenic tour, the scenic tourism stuff is always in blue. I've noticed that, I just really visual, I've noticed that.
Okay, well, we'll certainly talk to Ken about that then, and say maybe it's better just to leave it that
I
way.
think it is.
Yeah.
Obviously, the biggest project we have coming up in the very near future is actually getting the community garden up and running. Once we have a day that's not raining, we plan on drawing an irrigation diagram based on the beds where they're placed right now. And of course, naturally, we'll have ways and means to, fix additional ones as we get more of those beds. There is some current inventory that we took from the old garden that we're gonna reuse, and then whatever we need in addition to that, we're planning on purchasing. We also, we bought an 8x10 shed last year. And so Rich Cox is planning on helping us set that all up. It just needs some lumber to start the foundation, and then we'll be able to put up our shed, and that will be really helpful so that we don't have to keep hauling all of our stuff back and forth.
And Richard's here.
And as a matter of fact, there
He
is.
he would be able to give more information of the process of what we're gonna be doing with that, okay?
Okay,
Would you like to?
So, is there any,
would anybody like to hear from Rich as far as what he's got planned for his
but I have a feeling that
Or what?
our next person needs to leave soon, right?
Oh,
Is that what's going on or no?
Well, we have a long agenda, so keep that in mind.
okay, so I will wrap things
This
up.
is your meeting, and I am here
No,
to
cause
direct.
I thought I was seeing something like you were needing to leave or, no, okay, alright, I just wanted to make sure that
I'll
you weren't.
speed things up a little bit here.
It's okay.
So,
Oh,
anybody on the shed before anything? Okay. The other thing is we've been working with the local nursery across the highway that's right next to the gas station. Yep.
Oh,
Redemption, Gardens, the owner we've had discussions with Dave, and he plans to donate some starters for us and some plants for the garden. He wants to donate some of his time to assist us, and he will be offering gardening classes in April, so he is gonna be a wonderful partner for us as we go forward, since we obviously have vested interest in a lot of the same things. Only other thing I wanted to just mention really quick, Hometown Days is now starting to have their meetings, and one of our members attends those. They're talking about maybe doing 2 days instead of one. We've always done a fundraiser during Hometown Days, and so what we might do this year is have the horseshoe competition one day and the cornhole competition the next day, utilizing the same real estate in there. We'll just use the middle of the of the field there, and be able to run the cornhole competition inside the horseshoe ring, so that we can make better use of this wonderful thing that the city built for us.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
So right now we have currently $2,326. That's before the $500 grant. Thank you, City of Sheridan. And so we want to, of course, some of that's gonna be going towards the community garden, but one of the goals that we had for the last couple of years has been dog parks. And so if that appears to be one of the projects that you guys are trying to get done this summer, we would definitely want to donate our time and our money to help assist with that, if that is something. Yeah, okay. Any other questions before I bow out? Oh, yeah, okay. I do have one around 37, it was like literally 30 minutes before we came here. Paul was taking a walk with our dog and he ended up talking to Forest River and the same guy, Jim Seaver, that we worked with years ago for the benches. And he said he's interested in making more of them. And so we're gonna get that started too, so that we can, you know, start using some for, you know, the pond and some of the other areas that, you know, people will want to sit down.
Thank you.
Great job.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Those benches that they gave us.
We
that
could
they
probably
donated
have some
before
community
are-
garden too, that would be a good
Amazing.
idea, you know, for us old
Yeah.
folks that just sit down.
Yeah, you wanna talk about the garden too.
Yes.
Oh, that's so great.
Now we could utilize those benches and add those outside the horseshoe area now.
Right,
you know.
exactly. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we could use a lot of benches when you think about it, right?
Yes, the other thing that would be good about that when it comes to trees, of course, you know that South Park is, you know, you guys have a lot of plans to work that area, plant trees and so forth. The nice thing about this guy Dave over at this garden center is that he's got background in drafting and stuff like that, trees. So, you know, if anything like that can happen, that'd be good
Exactly.
too. If we can get the trees and so forth, you know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. David's a nice guy.
Thank you.
I've known him a very long
So,
time.
would you like to hear from Rich then about, our?
I think she was gonna do a public comments, right? Were you gonna talk
Oh,
about
I'm
the
sorry.
tree project or?
No, I was just,
Okay.
I mentioned it at city council,
Oh, okay.
but I could say something during the comment period,
Okay.
but I think we
I don't
already
know
did.
where we are on the meet. We are still.
We're about ready to go into our old business.
Just fine.
Okay.
You'll get.
All right.
Here for the long.
Well, thank you Vivian and Paul. Awesome. I'm loving these updates.
Yeah, we're excited.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and go on to our old business and we have some information about the Sheridan, the city park designs. So
Can I step out for just a moment? I've got a
if,
phone call.
yes, that's
I've got a friend who's. Okay.
okay, so I would like to, I guess we can have Sandy can come up and,
Well,
or not yet?
let me introduce
Okay.
you to Sandy, if you don't mind. This is Sandy Davis. She is our public works clerk and also hired, because there's so much going on with parks, to help out with parks. The logistics of getting everything ordered, like a project manager essentially. And she has done a fantastic job. She's only been here, how long? Since October 9th.
New.
Very new, but she was here before, many years ago.
17, 18 years ago, I was here for 3 years.
Yes, and so we're very happy to have Sandy come back, really.
Wonderful.
Yes, so I don't know about giving an oral presentation,
Okay.
but she will help fill in all the blanks as we go in the meeting. She'll
Okay.
poke me, she said she'll poke me, sit behind me and tell me, keep me
Awesome.
keep me going. Yes, but we did get a great donation from Dylan Houston, and he donated a cabinet for the city park. It's pretty tall. I don't know if I sent out a picture of it. I feel like I did at one point. Anyways, it's pretty tall, it's black, and it's from an old elevator business, and so they used it in their shop for things. And Sandy Walker, who's a former city councilor, she's an artist, and she is going to paint on the outside of it. She let me know that she is ready with her design, so we'll get going on that sooner than later.
Good,
Yeah, she's gonna
okay.
do kind of she did like a Dr. Seuss-ish style with balls on it and brackets and stuff, and so I'm really excited. She's really excited.
She's a very amazing artist. I love her
She really
artwork,
is.
so I'm really happy that she's doing that for us. Awesome.
So I bought a couple of balls to donate for it because we're a little nervous about how it's gonna go. But we are gonna put it under one of the cameras right there, so
Okay.
you know, we're being watched or whatever. So we'll have it under there and we'll just start with a couple rubber balls. And that brings me to the next thing. We have to get some nicer weather to go forward with pouring some of the
Yeah.
pads, you know, for the, not bocce ball, what's it called?
Or Foursquare.
Yeah, for the Foursquare. So, we're also making sure that the library has a set of all of the equipment. They have had one horseshoe set and it's been pretty popular last summer, so we're gonna go to 2 horseshoe sets at the library. And I think that, and Sandy looked into getting a net that will separate between the basketball and the foursquare area. And what else is going on over there? We're adding another security camera. And we've done some updates to the restroom. It has a new roof.
This net,
Wow.
are we talking about something appealing to the eyes or that ugly orange construction netting?
No, I don't, it's just like, what is it, like a rope?
It's the same as they use like a batting cage.
Oh, yeah, great,
Oh, okay.
yeah, okay.
So I don't know if that's pleasing to your eyes.
Well, they would at least appear
It's not
in a
revolting.
sporting environment,
Yes, a
as
sporting
opposed to
environment.
looking like someone's digging holes.
Very good. We're also had a great meeting with the Oregon Forestry Department. They're going to be coming in and it'll be sprinkled throughout this because they went to every park. So I'll just talk about them as we talk about the parks. But at the city park, they're very interested because there's a lot of ash trees. We've talked a lot about the emerald ash borer, that little tiny beetle that's devastating all the ash trees in the world. So they're very happy, the Oregon Forestry Department, that they pretty much have it contained in Oregon to the Forest Grove area, or Forest Grove. So we're gonna do quite a few things, really. One is they're gonna come and we're setting up a time for them to come and do an inventory of all the trees at the park. Because even though, and we're gonna start having one of our employees who's very eager to learn, start to figure out how to do the injections on our own, because it'll save quite a bit of money. And so that's the injections in the ash trees to keep them, to give them a fighting chance, really, in case anything ever happens. And in addition to that, we're going to be doing the inventory because every tree has a life. And some of those are very old over there. They appear to be in good health, but we also wanna make sure that we're growing trees to replace those so that there's always trees going on over there. If you have never gone to the city park and just sat or absorbed the surroundings, it is a very tree dense park. It is a very beautiful park, and so preserving that for the futures to come is I think very important to the city park. So we're gonna work on that and talk about diversifying some species over there too. So because just in case there's ever, because now there's an oak beetle as well. And so you really want to have a larger diversity of species in case anything happens like this, so you're not, facing what we're facing right now. Did I miss anything, you two, for city park updates? Okay, so that's city park update.
I have a question on the tetherball and foursquare thing.
Oh,
So I know
tetherball.
that there was concern of locations.
Yes.
So what's gonna happen?
The four squares were, when Kenny was here and he put it up, that's where it is best situated because of the irrigation.
Because that was the meeting I missed.
Oh, okay.
That was, yeah.
So, and that's why we all settled on trying to find something to divide because it's very near the basketball court.
Okay.
And so keeping the basketballs and keeping the foursquare balls out in case there's some people playing on both sides.
Okay.
So we were doing the net.
Okay.
And then the tetherball, I can't remember off the top of my head where it is.
It's between the play structures.
Yeah.
Let's say that'd be north.
Okay, yeah.
where
That's
it's-
right. I think that's where we were thinking about it
By the
before.
play
There's a
Yeah.
spot
Yeah.
in between
Yeah,
there.
'cause I
you
drove
should
over there and
look at
Okay.
If I may, is it possible you could draw up a rough sketch for us next time to lay out the plans of where these areas are going to be?
Yep,
I can do
thank
that.
you, Sam.
Awesome, thank you.
And we had like a something, we had one
Yes, I
before,
have a
but things were
general
changing a
idea,
little.
but actually, if something even said between the this and this,
It's very good to have that because this also brings us back to why we started talking about all these things.
Yeah.
Which is that we have a system development charge for parks. And the master plan is, the system, the charge is based on the master plan. Or, sorry, the charge is, yes, based on the master plan. And so we had started to go through that, but I think we got so excited to do some stuff. And so we also need to be sure that we're backing up and remembering that we need to update that master plan. So So, after we get through some of these activities, Chair, I would like us to revisit that, especially since we have so many subcommittees going on. I was thinking if each subcommittee could look at their section, essentially of where that activity is located in which park, and that might be a good way to kind of drill that out. But, and then if people just give me some edits or what they would like to see in those areas, then we can start to incorporate that as staff and then come back to you with a new plan. This is gonna take a while, so. don't worry, we have to do this overnight.
That's fine.
This is like a year project, but maybe it's our goal for 2024 to make some headway on that.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, it is now, can we talk or ask questions about the updates now or later? Should
Which
I-
we had.
Well, I remember us talking about, and it's in the notes, tables painted in the second week of May. Is that still being planned on too?
Yes.
And
Sarah,
refresh my
family and her
memory, what are
cheerleaders.
we painting?
So we're doing a chalk tabletop.
Chalk,
Yes.
Thank you,
And
thank you.
and the cheerleaders are donating the time, and then we have 3D Auto donating the standing power.
Ooh,
that.
yeah.
Yes.
What I would suggest is an action log for each park, truthfully with our ideas, and then some dates or projected dates and
We can
whatever,
have that.
again, because we think of these ideas and they're throughout our notes, but they're not one location.
Yeah.
So, because I've got things like, oh yes, the horseshoe pit was redone. What about the RC track, the equipment cabinet, the tetherball? You know, there's all these things that we thought about, but they're through the notes.
Yeah,
So-
so we, just like a more
Yes,
concise list of
just a list or whatever
check
works
mark
for you
done.
guys.
Yeah, I think we can start.
update.
I like
I
that
have
word
one
in
going.
here.
You have one, okay.
Yeah,
Maybe
yes,
that
by
can be
park,
accessible,
by
like a
park.
Google Doc
Yes.
too,
Yeah.
like maybe
That's
just-
good.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea, we can Google
Just by
Docs.
the way.
Yeah.
we should go through
So for what?
I know,
A Google Doc for
Yes.
the committee.
Oh,
is
yeah,
accessible
yes.
by everyone.
But keep
Yeah.
going back and-
yeah,
That would be
I
awesome.
agree.
So Sarah was saying, like a Google document,
Oh,
That can be
so that we
accessible.
can all access it and just.
that's
yeah.
awesome,
Yeah, we'll work on that for you.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that
So that was just City Park, right?
That's just a city.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I have one more. Also in the notes, it said a sign added to the park that gives information on how to reserve the covered area.
Yep, so I'm putting together a list of all of the signs that are needed for all of the parks that are coming up, and then I'm gonna work with Sea Reach, and she's
Okay.
gonna produce them all.
Okay.
Because we have quite a few for the Southside Park, including like a disc golf one.
Mhm.
And then we wanted one for how to play foursquare, so there's a whole bunch of signs. And then all the healthy,
Okay,
like
thank
keep
you.
walking, you're doing great, heart disease, walking.
Okay.
Thank
Take
you.
your dogs,
All those, we've got dog park signs that need to be made, and so I'm gonna give them all
Please
to
take
Sea
them
Reach
out.
as like a package.
Gotcha.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so we do need to, all the subcommittees need to get final in for all of their signs in the next couple of months. I'm sure there's some at the Riverside, Riverfront.
Is that a long-term, I mean, that would even, you know, cause we have ideas, but, you know, ideas change about.
Sure, I would say any of the signs that you're ready to pull the trigger on.
Okay, got it,
Yeah,
thank
We
you.
need to focus on those subcommittees then.
Last year, we had a list of like our timeframes. We had listed all of our different ideas.
Short-term, medium-term.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
right.
maybe we should revisit that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like that idea, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's feeding
Yeah.
right into Kay's action plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll bring that back.
Good.
Yes, that was all for the master plan stuff.
Yes.
Is how I got, and then I think we got into like actually doing
Yeah.
things. Yeah, very
Okay.
good.
So now updates to the Southside Park.
Okay, there are a lot of updates. Okay, so we'll start with the electricity. We are Cindy's been working very hard, and so has Kenny on meeting with Stuck Electric. we've got a quote back, and Sandy and I were just reviewing all the pieces that, it doesn't cover at this point. So we've decided that we're gonna go in, or we're gonna ask Spec Electric to come in and make sure that the quote expands to include the other kind of optional pieces of it. Because what is included now is all the stuff that PGE is requiring. And I will let you know that that has been a long and tedious project, and it took some upper management at PGE to really get them to get that project some attention. So that was good.
Yes,
It's finally to that point.
we finally got something back from them.
Yes, and it required even some scrutiny from the city attorney about the easements that are over in that area. I think that part held back a lot of the action items for a long time because we need electricity for certain things to happen, and that goes in the ground. So that was difficult. When we didn't think we were gonna get some activity back, or that it would be a while, a couple more, it was delayed out again. We met with a solar company and thought about adding a secondary, energy source to that location, but that turns out to be very expensive, so that's out of our budget. Even though it would be really great at some point to think of that area as being an area for emergency management to be over there. But, that's not gonna work out at this time. There are some grants for adding solar, and that will just have to take place later, because we've got a lot of grants we're managing right now.
Is that like a 10-year plan option?
We can add that into I was thinking into the parks plan for that area.
Awesome,
But that's gonna be not,
right, feasible now.
yes.
So Heidi, thank you
Out of
for
all the
thinking
things.
Yes.
But thank you for thinking that way.
That was not me that thought of that. That's one of our public works staff members,
Okay.
Brandon, and he, yeah.
That's pretty
very-
cool.
Yeah, it was a very good
Just
idea.
tell them I'm very impressed with that.
I can imagine solar panels on the roofs of the picnic areas,
Yeah.
which would
That's
be,
what I just heard.
yeah.
That's what the idea was, yeah. And then we thought about having some on top of the restroom, but then it would change the direction of the restroom. And so we were like, oh, let's just fill it. Building areas. But anyways, and then it could end up being some extra, just like field space at some point, but that's a lot to handle at this time, so we
Yeah.
just need to get through with what we have.
Time sense.
Yeah, so I feel like we're reading.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what else we have in there. Public Works Sandy has completed a site plan drawing of the parking lot layout. And, that is, the city planner is looking at that to make sure that we have enough, spots to fill for our own code. That was very helpful that Sandy put that together. She's also been coordinating the delivery of the septic tank that will be at the location, because it doesn't have sewer there at that location, but it does have water. And bringing sewer down into that location is also cost prohibitive at this point as well. So we'll have the septic tank, and that's been a lot of coordination, and now we're considering, we have to dig a huge hole out there, and so we'll have to close the park while that hole, or we can put up some fencing, and so we're trying to explore that. But as we dig the hole, there very well could be a high water table, and so we're also learning.
So we
About
got the
Yeah.
specifications for buoyancy for that tank and how to tie it down. We did get that back.
See how wonderful Sandy is? She just moves everything forward.
Considering I got a place on the Sleds River, I completely understand.
So that rose to the surface of our attention.
Not fun, but funny.
The city engineer came out to make sure that we weren't gonna get ourselves into any trouble with the location of the footbridge, being in any wetland area. And then he's even found a couple of used bridges, and so we're hopeful that one of those will work out for us. Yeah, it's funny to think about a used bridge, isn't it? Yeah.
No, that's really cool.
It is really cool, and there's one that is really peaceful looking, and so I hope we get that.
I'm all about the reusable.
Yeah, it's just funny to think that it'll arrive in like a shipment.
It's just me bringing.
And so that also determined, if we get a used bridge of how wide it can be, just for the shipment costs, because otherwise if it gets really big, you kind of have to do special permits for traveling.
Is it wood or metal?
There's a couple of options, and the one that I think that would work the best, and so the engineers, is wood.
Yep.
It has, a large, how many feet is it? Do you remember? I can't remember
Don't
the
think I
span,
have.
but it's
Yeah.
quite large, and so that's nice, cause it takes us really far out of the flood issues.
Can we
Or the-
paint it like a color, red?
Well, I think it should be rustic, it's rustic.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Let's just get
That
through
was
the
good.
fun stuff first.
Right, King Iron and Battle.
So- And then we met with the salesperson to get the final numbers for the picnic tables, the barbecue grills, and the pavilion structures. And Sandy is keeping track very closely of our dollars, and we're coming under the budget for those, which is really, really nice, because it was over budget for the paving of the walking surface around the, the loop.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna be able to roll that into getting that done. So that'll be really nice, and that will, Sandy, thank goodness she's here, or just from the city, thank goodness she's here tonight, but also a staff member, because she's putting all together the timelines for everything. Kate, you would be impressed.
Yes, I would.
And so, and then tomorrow, she's gonna order the bollards. Tomorrow? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, soon, ordering the bollards, because we can get those ordered and they can be stored, but they are $13,000. I know, thank goodness we have the grant, right?
Yes.
Let's see, what else, what have I missed? Maybe, there, nothing? I think that pretty much
Pretty
covers
much
it, dog park people.
No, I was gonna ask, is the hookups for, food carts still on the?
That's what we need to visit with Stack Electric.
Okay, gotcha, I just wanted to,
Thank you, Rebecca.
But that's one of the things.
it's
that-
in
really
the
important.
notes.
It
but-
is included in the parking lot for sure.
Mhm.
So
It's into the drawing, we have it included in the
Okay,
drawing,
thank you.
yes, but we're hoping to continue down that path.
It'd be nice for events, wouldn't it?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
Wendell, what do you
Yeah.
think? Wendell, you're not paying attention.
I'm not with you.
We have those giant concerts.
I'm trying to figure out where we are in this book here.
Well,
we're
we're
looking
we're
at-
on the paperwork
We're
down.
talking about-
Page 30.
Southside Park updates, it's 29.
It's your part.
Yeah, I get it, it's, I'm seeing page after page of saying
Yeah.
Southside Park, City Park, Southside Park, City Park.
I know, they don't have great names for, they don't have great names for parks here.
What page, Maggie?
Right.
29.
Thank you.
Okay, and
I did have a
other
question.
questions? Yeah.
The playground that we
Oh,
that we had talked about to take from that church in McMinnville to possibly put out at Southside, what is happening with that?
I want to remind you all that I said I was very busy for that, so
Okay.
it was up to everybody else to make it work.
No, I remember, but
Sorry.
it died.
No,
I think it died.
Didn't it?
No, it did not die.
Oh,
On the meeting I had for the parks, for Yamhill County, I talked to him and he says he still has the equipment. They're actually waiting for their new equipment to arrive, so it's still there on the property and they haven't taken it apart yet.
so it's not the church location, this is a different one.
This is the church.
It's at the church that's right there on the corner of, is it,
The Baptist church.
Baker
Oh,
and,
okay.
or not Baker,
But I thought they had already tore it down.
no.
No,
No.
they were wanting to tear down, but they wanted to wait for the new equipment to
Okay.
arrive.
But there was issues that we found out later, I believe, with having to get it up out of the ground or something, and that it had to be.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Correct.
see, that's what I was wondering, because
We thought it was.
That is what, when Kenny went out, that's what he didn't think that we would be able to take it out.
Yeah, cause it's
Just
just
like this
cemented
out,
into
because it's
place.
cemented.
That's why I said I thought it was already, no.
okay.
Yeah, I needed us to start having the conversation to remember that.
Yeah, so because last
Just
I
have them
remember,
stop it from coming, I guess. Do we need to weld it into a base?
I don't-
Oh,
I think that it would be cut and then it wouldn't be tall, it wouldn't have enough security to be stable, do you know what I mean? Cause you have to have things like buried to a certain level to be stable. I think, I don't know, remember this is what I said.
Yeah. Well, because last I remember that we had talked about and we would have needed to get a group, we would have to take it apart ourselves.
Yeah, that was Kay.
Yeah, and so, okay,
I think if it were, this is an object, and this object has we'll call them legs,
Yes.
and these legs are buried under concrete to hold it in. And if we were to cut them across here, you go ahead and you weld legs on it, and you bury them in
I
concrete.
think that sounds good for the private sector, but when we start talking about
It-
the public
it's-
sector
that's the
and our
conversation I'm
insurance, they
looking
get
for.
very nervous.
Yes,
So-
yes.
We are welcome to contact them, but they're gonna probably say, tell me no.
Nothing, no, because now we're
They're like
restructuring
the
something
fun
that's already been
police,
done.
so I can ask them how they feel about that.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
May I please? Why are we still calling it Southside Park?
I was also gonna ask about what is happening with the name thing.
Cause that doesn't work for me, or
We decided to wait until, the council decided to wait until there's like a ribbon cutting and stuff. And they want to do like name contest, and we had one person who submitted, I don't know, like 10 pages worth of information. Remember, I think it was Susan Chamberlain.
I think it was Susan that sent
A
it,
whole bunch
yeah.
of information, and so
Of
it
a
was
couple
more than
names, yeah.
just, so there's a lot to consider.
we were talking about having it named after people,
There was that consideration,
and then
and then
there's
this group had
consideration of
a
making it a bigger deal.
Yeah, I
On
think the
Highway
council,
18.
complex,
yeah, the council didn't like the idea.
Highway 18, the whole, am I right? The whole idea was that Highway 18 wouldn't cater to that. That, I mean, like, the traffic on the way to the beach would not be looking for a name, like just a more port. They would be looking for something like a bigger name than that. To get the excitement.
Right, we did talk about that,
We did.
and we kind of were silly about it, like, the super exciting, what amazing Sheridan Park, right?
Exact-
We
well,
joked
some-
and teased about that,
something
but
West
something that
Valley.
would say, hey, check out, come
West
here.
Valley
Yeah.
Community something.
Yeah.
So I'd like to, I would like to make a motion that we visit that at some point.
add that back to the agenda.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the action on.
Please.
Yeah,
because
lot.
To me, that's a big deal. I have staff members who have never been to that park.
Yeah.
Because they don't know it's a park.
Yeah, we need
How
more
sad is
signage
that?
even.
My 2 cents, and it's not a lot, but I think something as grand as naming a section of property should be put to the citizens to do that, because otherwise each of us can come up with our own reason why we want our grandpa's name on the
Yeah.
park. Okay,
Exactly.
and that's not fair to the
I don't
city,
think it
that's
should
not
be
fair to
in
the
the
town.
name. I think it should be a bigger deal than that.
But whatever it may be, I think we need
Okay.
public input.
So it sounds like at your next meeting, you want an agenda item to design like a contest or.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So we'll make
because-
it, and I will put that on the agenda and do some light research on park naming, cause I actually know that there's a lot of things that go into consideration.
Yes.
Well, I
was
call
gonna say,
it a
it might
pond
be-
park.
It might be good to know, exactly what the plan is for it and what's gonna be included. If it's gonna be more recreation or entertainment or what, cause that's gonna go into a name too, so you might wanna know
I
Yes.
think that's
kind
where
of what
people
it's
weigh
supposed
in.
to look like.
Yes.
Is it gonna be a Disneyland or is it gonna be something else?
I think it's gonna be Disneyland, but.
To me, it's-
Park, a
to me, it's the
recreation
pond
area, I
park.
mean,
Yes,
unless you know what's going in that.
And so we haven't gotten that far yet in this meeting, but there is a snippet I could take. And that is that when it comes to amphitheater project, my idea, and I'm gonna stick firm on this, and then we won't get into what kind of name it's gonna take on, but I'd like the amphitheater itself to have its own name.
Yeah.
That way, it's the super duper wonderful amphitheater at
Johnny
Yeah.
Ketchup and.
to Johnny Ketchup Amphitheater at the Wendell Cunningham Southside.
Yeah, okay.
Are you paying the bills with them?
Well, I've been paying my whole life.
To me, it's the pond.
I'm here, aren't
It's
I?
the fishing pond.
Yeah, okay.
And the dog, you know, that whole.
I just call it the fishing pond.
Well, okay,
That's what,
That's
that's
a
how,
lot
when
of
I,
people
when
know
I
about
talk to somebody else, I
fishing
say,
ponds, so-
maybe
that's
fishing
what
pond.
I'm saying, that's, South, they're like
But either way.
Southside Park, where's that?
We'll get to that,
Yeah.
we'll get to that.
All right.
Thank you for,
Well, and there's the advertising campaign.
thank you for hearing.
Anything else on the park?
No.
Okay, all right. We can go ahead and go on to new business and, we have item A to vote about the kickoff for the Tree City USA thing. That was a very interesting, application. Why would we wanna be part of this whole Tree City USA thing?
Well, because people like trees.
Yeah.
Can I,
Really?
can I add to
The
that?
benefit, yes.
You're a lumber town, and I have an interest in the lumber mill.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have myself hugged a tree before.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, Brad, if you cut this tree down, we're not gonna be together anymore. Okay, 'cause I love this tree. But, I mean, look at where we live. My dad was a state forester, head of the state forestry mapping division of Oregon. And there's a lot that goes into this thinking. It's so hard to teach people how to think about the whole thing. I've done my whole life this way. And you don't wanna get involved in anything radical.
I mean, that's like, that was my thought, was like, I had never known what the process was and why certain cities were designated as the tree city or whatever. So seeing this is like really was interesting, so.
It's a little too much, and I'm just putting if my dad were alive today, he'd say, whoa.
About this process?
Mhm.
Oh, I've done it before, it's not a lot of work. It may
Okay.
look like it, but it's really not that much work. You can do it now or never or later or whatever you like, we just thought we'd put it out here. The forestry department helps you big time through the process.
Okay, the forestry department's involved in this.
This is theirs, yeah.
Oh, this is theirs.
This
Okay,
is a
that I did not
program that
understand.
they have, a
That's different.
forester that's dedicated
Okay.
to this program, and so you just work with them.
Well, then I'm all
To
about it.
do it. The other benefits are just, the city also has a lot of mandates that come to it from the DEQ about regulation of stormwater and making sure that when we add water into waterways, that the temperature is reduced, and trees help with that, especially
Okay.
here in the city. So that's one of the benefits as, that can come out of public works benefit, but in general, people like to live in an area that has trees, and
Right.
we are right at
Well,
the base of like two forests.
I didn't read that,
Coast
so
range.
my
So-
fault.
Well, that's okay, it's totally up to you guys if you
I
want to
was-
do
I
it or
was-
not, but.
I was reading more of the tree hugging thing, and you're talking about more the state forestry department,
Yeah,
which I'm all
so
on board. I am
this
so
is-
much on board.
we can bring back more information if you're curious and just see some pamphlets and stuff.
I'm
Yes.
It is
curious,
through the Arbor Day Foundation.
Oh, okay, alright.
let's see, whatever night the council meeting, there was on the agenda about a company and forestry, that group.
Well, the forester.
Yeah, they're not going to help us with this project. are they?
No,
Okay, just curious.
they will be,
Doing Stony Mountain
Yes.
Reservoir.
so
Okay,
that's a different project.
Project,
It's actually
okay.
a place that will.
I thought maybe it, kind of interconnected in a way.
No, so up around Stony Mountain, we, the city council was supposed to have a presenter, but then everything happened with the storm weather, and that's been delayed. The forester will come January 5th, and we can ask him even about this program.
I would like to
January
be walking
5th,
on.
But the forester himself is being hired to, he's not.
Right.
Yes, he's being considered.
Considered.
He was asked to come in to do a tree management program up around Stony Mountain Reservoir. For those of you that don't know what Stony Mountain Reservoir is, it's back in like 2009, Sandy?
It's finished, yeah.
2009 it was finished, and it holds 60 million gallons of water. At that time, it was designed to come online, to have a water treatment plant somewhere along the line, and to serve most of the drinking water needs for the city. But the city ran out of money, unfortunately, to do that part. So the city of Sheridan, Lucy, would you do it, or would you grab the picture from me? So the city has this beautiful asset way up into the mountains, and they're looking forward to hopefully sooner than later, figuring out how to get this whole thing connected. So the engineers are studying this.
Oh,
So it doesn't look like this anymore, because it has lots of trees and stuff around it, thank you. And there's like 140 acres around there, so the city needs to make sure with all the wildfires that happen too, and there's nobody, that's like staying up there to manage So the city council's taking that very seriously.
And I volunteered to help with that, I misread that.
Yeah,
I
that's
did
okay.
not read all the agenda.
That's okay, no problem. So this is, something that we can get more information, I can even have a forester come and talk to you, one of the Department of Forestry people, come and
That'd
talk
be
to you,
nice.
they'd be happy to do
Yes.
that.
That'd
So
be
we'll have them
wonderful.
come in and maybe it'll be the same time and we'll, that they'll be done with the inventory, and so then they can present on the park and tree inventory, and then also talk about this program. But they're very excited to work with the city of Sheridan.
We need a motion, I make a motion that we
Go ahead.
get more information and a presenter from the
Absolutely.
forestry.
Okay. All those in
We
favor?
get educated.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Oh, aye. Alright, any opposed?
Mind if I say one more thing?
Sure.
It is very, very easy to get, you have to spend so much money, but it's not real money necessarily, it's all of your time, which is at the volunteer rate, which is like $25 ish an hour for volunteer
It
money.
changed again, it went down.
Oh, it did. Anyways, and so it's always very easy to achieve it through that.
What
Because
is-
you do have to hold an event, Earth Day event. And so the Earth Day event this year would be some of the tree planting that we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the per capita? Is this $2 per capita?
Yeah.
What is,
Per capita is your population.
okay,
Oh, thank you.
okay.
And it says there's 4 standards. Do you have a time frame? Do they require this done in a year, or what's the time frame
Oh,
on
they
that?
don't. No, you just do them and then you get done with them.
Okay,
And then
all
you
right.
buy. It's a very relaxed process and program.
All right.
It's very fun
Totally
too.
different than I was.
Yeah,
picturing.
one of the things that we did for Tree City USA was had one of the Department of Forestry, we had a whole Arbor Day week to do different things during Earth Week. And one of them during COVID was kind of different and fun because we're doing different fun things, right? We're trying to. And so people in the communities submitted pictures of trees that they've always wondered what they were in their neighborhoods or on their property. And then the forester went through and identified them and told them about probably the approximate age or the background on the tree and how to take care of it and prune it and all that stuff. But it was kind of funny because sometimes people took the same picture of the same tree, so it was just like a talking point, but whatever. Anyways, and that was all done like on a Zoom thing, and so, yeah, it was really neat.
Alright, well, that's good, okay. I think it would be interesting to
No more.
to do that, yeah. Alright, so now we're gonna look at the support for public art statues in Chester Moore Park. Do we have any? I don't think I have that in here.
No, there's just,
No, there's
I
no-
thought we just talked about it a
Okay.
little bit, because we don't have a lot of solid information. A while back, when it was Kay has presented the idea of the Chester Moore Park. You wanna talk about the statues, Kay?
Other than,
We should
you
have
know,
like a speech by now.
I know,
Does that change?
no, well, it really hasn't, it's just a sculpture that it can be put down in the park, but not too low. And again, I think I recall it was Public Works, somebody suggested, hey, besides having that fish or whatever sculpture, let's put a measuring device.
Yes, okay,
Do you
yes,
guys
I
recall
remember
this
that.
discussion?
Now I remember
Yes,
that, okay.
that is what
Yeah.
we're talking about, and it seems to me Susan from Sea Reach has a connection to 1% something, I forgot the group. And which is a list of artists, and not only artists, but sculptures. What is the correct term for sculpture?
Sculptor.
Sculptor, okay, thank you, yes. So, and she was going to, reach out and through her connections to, get them to submit some ideas.
Okay,
And they are, she found somebody to do some preliminary drawings for it.
hey,
And so the Sheridan Revitalization Movement is gonna help the city by leading through a selection process. So the sculptor's gonna do like 6 different designs, and then there'll be a fun, I don't know what you call it, survey, public thing, public outreach, where people get to vote on their favorite wines. And then the Oregon Forestry Department let us know that they had received a lot of federal grant money, and this is one of the projects that they're very interested in funding for. So that's what also is catapulting
To the head of the line, right?
Yes, it's like, whoa, okay, so, we're waiting to hear back when they finalize their grant criteria, but they're very interested because it has a lot of emergency management pieces to it, and it's in a park, and it's public art, and it helps with economic development, and it's just a really great thing to fund, so very excited about that. Oh, and it also talks about, we're concentrating on native species to the river.
Oh, yeah.
And so putting in the plaque and the information, and then having some information, you know, one of the things, I don't remember, it was this group, we were talking about the lamprey, and how we learned that there was lamprey in there, two different types. And so we had talked about also putting information in some, you know, like plaques and stuff, to talk about even the history of the lamprey with the tribes. And so, yeah, so there's a lot of different pieces there that it really celebrates, but it's a K sculpture and Lucy with the meter, so hybrid of ideas.
Remind me about this meter, this measurement thing, what is it for?
What's a river level?
Like a river gauge.
River gauge.
Oh, okay,
So you have the lamprey at like when the river gets to 5 feet and it looks like the lamprey's like coming out of the river.
I see,
And then at 10 feet you have, I
a
don't know,
fish.
fish,
Something
else,
a
yeah.
fish.
Yeah.
And then
Salmon
at
or
whatever,
steelhead.
We have
yeah,
frogs
yeah.
at ground level, we have it.
Yeah, and it
whatever
goes
might
up
be.
to like 4 statues.
Hey, cool, good,
And so
good.
We
then-
have a nutrient at the bottom.
But we like the idea that what level it is, it looks like it's like
I like it.
active with
Yeah,
water.
I like it.
And then the last one is, has some sort of a beacon essentially, when that goes off, that means it's time to evacuate.
It's time to evacuate.
Because we get a lot of people who are curious about at what stage the river's at,
Right.
and so it becomes much more visual for the community.
So just as a visual, it won't have any kind of alarm or light system that
It'll have like a beacon.
a beacon that
But
will
that's at the very
activate.
last one.
Yeah, what's, okay.
That means
wonderful.
And Susan checked and that.
Yeah.
Susan
Out of Dodge.
That's like the.
Oh, I'm above
Get out of
floodplain, no, I don't care.
You could be stuck up there.
I'm
Just
happy
keep
up
that
there.
in mind.
I'm happy up there.
Yes, so Susan checked at Sea Reach and the beacon part is possible.
Wonderful.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I like
awesome.
something like that that's actually functional
Yes,
as well as art.
yes.
And it goes, and it's a riparian area, so you want it to be as natural as possible. But this kind of fills in, it's not natural necessarily, but it fits in with the environment. So, yeah, something like that, and, you know, it'd have to be something kind of substantial because it's in the floodway.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think that would, in one of the other,
Yeah,
either
and
Chestermore or
that's where we
Yeah.
planned Chestermore because it's a smaller area and there's not much you can do with it right now till we
Yeah.
figure out more.
And that would be
You could
visible
do-
from the other side of the river
Yeah,
too, wouldn't
yeah.
it?
I think,
Okay.
Well,
well,
most
mostly
of it.
from the bridge,
Yeah.
but
Goes along with all the.
it could go on
Yeah.
either side, really.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Goes along with all the Madison River.
Yeah, so,
So that's where that's headed. It'll involve, of course, some engineering is involved just with the figuring out the different points.
Ernie's on all that, cause our
Yeah.
subcommittee meeting last.
Well, that'll all be
That
included in
lasted
the
for an hour and a
grant
half, right?
package to be funded for, so. Okay, that's all we thought we'd just give a,
Awesome.
any
so there's no
pictures or anything
vote
yet.
per se, is that correct?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, well, it says vote, yeah, but
Yeah.
you can vote and say you're giving me the support when the application comes out, and we'll present you back with a letter to sign for all of you. Are you interested in that?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All
The
right.
more we talk about it and the more support there is, and then the more attachments we have for a grant application to show that, that's always good. That's it.
Alright. Now on to, I think, the exciting part of the night, the subcommittee reports. And wow, we've got lots of new subcommittees. I love it. I love this. Okay, so first off, our Riverfront park system. So, Ernie, you're up.
well, I'll just kind of go through this here kind of quickly. I'll start off with the pavilion. We chatted today, we met today, down at the museum, we have a monthly meeting down there as well. And, we talked about the clock, what's going on with the clock. I think some people getting tired of the plywood clock up there, but intention is to remove the roof of it, so we can take it down and rebuild it, to redesign it. And so the first problem we ran into there is getting it removed, because it's a little over 30 feet in the air. So we checked with Bottoms, and we'd have to have them bring a 40-foot lift down, take it off, then come back at a later date when it's completed and put it back up. And their price on that was like $2,500, which was a lot. So the contractor that I'm using, Mark, he knows the owner, and he said, well, he could get it done for 12. And while he was checking on that, I checked with Dick Payne, he said, well, he just do it.
What was the last part?
Dick Payne will do it.
Well, we will do it.
Who will?
The city, we have a boom of 40 foot, so that's what Sandy and I were talking about.
When?
Kenny thinks that Sandy and I think that we already
We've had a
said,
discussion
yes.
about using the boom truck.
Which boom?
well, it's just a bucket truck, it's a lift truck.
Oh, yeah, that won't go up high enough, or it won't lift enough either. I think he
It
told me.
wouldn't lift enough maybe, but I'm pretty sure it went high enough, it's 40 feet.
I think, the notes say lift truck cannot handle the weight.
Yes.
So it is the weight then?
Yeah,
It is
it's
the weight.
350 pounds limit, and that's with somebody in it. So it's got a bucket on it, but
Right.
you gotta somehow get this
And-
on top of the bucket with somebody in it.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
I knew there was a discussion, I just didn't have the answer.
But at any rate, so Dick said he could do that, but, you know, it's been icy and wet, and he doesn't really wanna do it in wet weather. So I talked with Kenny about it, and he said, well, if you can do that, that would be great. So we would bring our bucket truck up there to remove the bolts. I already had stuck electric. Aaron came over and disconnected the electrical. And so they could be doing that, and then Dick's lift can either lift it up, because there's two eyelets in the roof of it to hook onto to lift it up. But if that's not quite long enough, then we would just use the platform with the forks and slide it over, put it on the city truck, and he'd take it over to Lucy's, where we can work on it, get it fixed, the shop back behind her business, and then reverse the process to get it up there. So that way we can install the clock and everything while it's in the shop, put the gable on it. There's some metal work involved in that. And then we would go ahead and get everything hooked up that has a GPS on it, and also a photo cell. You know, turn the lights on and off automatically, and set the time so it's within a second every year. And then Stuck will come over and go through the programming on it before that all takes place. So when we do put it up there, we're spending as less time as possible to get it done. So again, like I've heard about 3 times tonight, you know, waiting for some better weather.
Yeah.
Maybe here in a couple weeks, I don't know. But I told Kenny that as soon as Dick's good to go, that we'd give them like 3 days notice so they could get out there and cone it off, because they're gonna have their bucket truck there too, so. And shouldn't cost us anything.
Dick will just be supplying his radal to.
Yeah, he said he wasn't gonna take it on the deck this time.
Did you hear that ding that just went off? That was about going to the deck.
No, you won't have to, because the tower's right next to the sidewalk, so
Yeah. The tower is
we're safe there.
Who is he going to? Is he going to loan this piece of equipment, or is he going to do it
Oh, no, he's
himself?
gonna do it himself.
What if Dick gets hurt? What if something happens while Dick's doing this on his own time under his own thing for a
We
city?
have volunteer waivers,
Okay,
so we are all covered for that.
Ruby.
So, anyway, that's the status on it. We're just kind of a holding pattern, but we've got everything set up. It's just get some good weather to do it. And then, we may or may not, depending on how it goes in the shops there, but at some point, we are also going to redo the lower part of the clock tower. It was initially designed to have a kiosk on front of it, so I found one that's pretty much vandal proof that would look nice on there. And then maybe move the plaques, refinish those and put them around to the, would be the cafe side, because it's a triangular shaped panels. And then on the third panel, we would have some metal placards that would be information and regulations, stuff like that, do's and don'ts. And we can go talk with the attorney about that, get some legalese in there, some code numbers or something. Because it is kind of a unique city property, because it's a city park, but it's got deed restrictions, which I think everybody understands now, so, that's one of the ways we got the homeless camp off there, because it wasn't designed for that, and it was in violation of the deed restrictions. So we were looking at that, of course, the rating, that's already been done. The question I know comes up with people like, well, what are you gonna do with the deck? But that depends on getting some structural stuff done underneath the deck. And Peggy just sent me an email the other day regarding another change in the engineer's report. So, yeah, I'd like to talk to him about that, because there's a couple different things there that we could do at once. I'd really like to get, well, not only that done, because once we get that done, then we can look at how we're going to replace the deck and the railing and rebuild the back wall and all of the other amenities that go on top of it. Maybe look again, I was looking at one point in time about having some of that decking given to the city, but they were afraid, because if they did, they didn't want to see it floating down the river in a couple of years, so.
So we
That
need
got
to
us
take
back
it
to this,
very seriously about the engineering and being very pragmatic, and so it seems slow, but it's for a very good reason. Yeah. We're gonna build it to last.
so I'll revisit that with that company, see if they're still
Thank you.
interested, because that's a big chunk.
Thank you.
And in the meantime, when that work down there is going on, we're looking at a couple of retaining walls down there that were part of the original proposal. We were hoping that we could level some of that area behind the pavilion, you know, where it's sloughed off now, where the big trees are. And if we could do like a rock retaining wall against that, and maybe backfill to level that out a little bit behind there, so when the ramp goes in behind the pavilion, you're walking into this park with picnic tables and stuff. And I know one of the concerns they had, and this is what I wanted to talk to Tim, the engineer, about. If we're out of the ordinary high water mark on the bank, like right now, if you go down there, the bank's not that high off the river. But in summertime, you can see where the ordinary high water mark is, because the vegetation stops. But if we are taking land out of the floodway, short of that, we need to have a place to put the material to have a net zero effect on the property. Well, this would take care of that, because if we put in that dirt, if they're digging that down for the ramp, up where the park part is, where we need a little flatter. So that's one of the things I wanted to follow up with him and get some more information on that. The State Board of Land said that as far as going down into that ordinary high water mark, then you can get into a years-long process. So if we can do something like this in the interim, we might be able to have something that'll work for part of the year, and not so much for the other, but there's some workarounds with that until we could maybe get an actual launch that would work for us. So that's all kind of out there, but regarding that park area, the Rotary has been for the last 6 months or more.
Chomping at the bit.
They
To get money.
They can't wait, and but they got some money together, and they wanted to furnish the what would be out on this park area and picnic tables. So we did some research on that and found some that were commercial grade, heavy duty, and vandal resistant. And we were looking at if that area was up on that upper level where the gravel driveway comes around up on that top part of the bank. By the way, that's where the original Parks and Recreation master plan talked about having the park as that upper bench, because it's out of the floodway. That's the area we're talking about. So we figured we'd have like maybe 4 tables out there, and we'd have like maybe concrete pads that were a little oversized from where the table dimensions are, so it doesn't get muddy around there, weeds growing in it and all that kind of stuff. And we looked at 2 8-foot tables, and and one of the 8-foot tables would actually have 6-foot long benches so that each end would accommodate a wheelchair, so that would be the ADA part. And then 2 smaller 48-inch square tables. And so that would be a total of 24 seats, with 2 of them, 8% would be ADA. So that's, quite a few seats actually for that area out there. But if you were having people down at the park or picnicking or having boat races or something where people are congregating right there, it'd be a nice place for people to do that. And then, of course, it'd be a pavilion too, but it wouldn't have tables like this area would. So, long story short, we got the benches, and they're sitting in the back of Lucy's shop. They have 2 big pallets, and they're designed, the tabletops are a diamond design, but they're open hollow. So, you don't have to worry about a lot of stuff, and they're galvanized, and then they're thermoplastic coated, UV protection, easy to clean paint off of, hard to carve stuff into. Did I say UV resistant? I think I did.
Yes.
And then the benches and the tables, the legs are 2 3/8 inch outside diameter, tubular, and they're also powder coated. So the tabletops and bench tops are like a forest green color, kind of blends in. And then we have security brackets and anchors that we could put on those into the concrete slabs, and they'll be situated throughout that top part. And they're tamper-proof, so people can't steal them. And so we have it, but we don't have the place to put it yet. So we couldn't really pass up the opportunity, because if we didn't do it by the end of the year, we may not get it. So that's fine, they're bought for and stored. One of the things I was interested in hearing tonight about Forest River there is on the sketches that we have for redoing the pavilion. Some of that includes, unlike picnic benches, regular type benches. And I have a couple of designs for them that, kind of keeps people from sleeping on and that sort of thing. But it's somewhat similar to what they built for the city before. And if they wanted to make some benches, I think we figured 7 up there, perimeter type. And then maybe a couple, 3 in the middle of the pavilion where the brickwork and the woodwork comes together. So it was designed to be like a stage for the 106 building was, for people, having different things at events. And so I looked at maybe putting some posts up right through that short little section, and having just like a little kiosk roof on it, where some of those benches would be covered for maybe people that can't stand the sun. So anyway, just gonna make it pretty user-friendly type of thing. So, that might be an option too.
Ernie, are there? I was just watching a documentary about some of this. Are there people sleeping there now in that area on the ground?
Down beneath it?
Or
Yeah, where? It is a no camping area.
what I'm getting at is the seats being designed so no one can lay on them.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do.
I mean, if they're not laying there already, where, they may or may not lay on a bench, but what if I'm in the park and I want to lean back? Am I not allowed to lay back on the bench just because I'm not a homeless dude?
But what is that called? That's called a hardscape, no.
Right.
There's a word for this.
Go home.
Purposely design park equipment or public equipment for, what is it called?
I can't recall, but I was just watching a documentary on it last night.
Yeah, I
That
see
there's a movement removing these from cities because of that, because I understand where you're coming from, and I support you
Well,
in
if they
it.
wanna do that, they can go in the picnic area right outside, and there's a 6-foot and an 8-foot out there.
Yeah.
I know that's why we put so much thought into this. Every meeting that we have is, and I mean, we're so passionate about people not being able to sleep on the tables. And, they're sleeping on our property too.
Yeah, I've never seen, and it's just, I don't spend all my time at the park. I've never seen a camp set up on the table, on the bench, on the chair, on the skate park, on the horseshoe, at the Southside. I've never seen any of those. All the places I see people doing that is in the bushes by the river
Mhm.
and
And
sneaking
on
in.
our property,
That's great, but your property isn't in the park on the bench.
and down below, where the
Yeah,
boat
I
ramp is going.
understand, but that's still not in the park on the bench.
That's kind of the past, but I've seen it in the past.
I'll see it, I've seen it in McMinnville.
Yeah.
I've seen it, I've seen it.
so
in-
much.
Well, I've seen it all over the world, but I'm not seeing it here. We're here.
So they're just renting for them.
Yeah,
So
I'm-
is this
yeah.
a question about them sleeping there or not sleeping there, or having something
No,
that
no, Mike,
prevents them from sleeping there?
I'm not even sure if it's a question.
I don't know, I'm just curious, because the pavilion is different anyway, because it has other restrictions on how it's used.
Right.
And sleeping and camping on it.
Right.
But out on the benches there, I mean, if you wanna sleep on a flat, metal, open design bench or table, you could probably do it, you can't make backs because we've got them without backs.
Right. It's just, I don't want us to go down a slippery slope.
Yeah.
I do a lot of investigating and do a lot of things, okay? And, a young man was, recently arrested for sleeping on a park bench. Well, he was just on his lunch break from work, taking a break. And it all falls into, no one's allowed to do this, so the guy went to jail, or taking a nap on a park bench during his lunch break.
Mhm.
Well, maybe we need a
So-
sign that says no sleeping on our benches, but these benches have never been there before, this is a new area
Yeah,
for us.
yeah.
So this is a
Do you have a
totally new
question?
thing.
Or what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying that area is posted as a no camping and the under and above and the whole area is. And it is, that was taken by the city council a while ago when it was in its camping ordinance.
Right, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
one of the spots that's specifically, no.
And I would think that taking a
Under-
nap versus camping out, they're two different things.
We
I mean,
tend to have police that go out and make
yeah, I
conversation
mean,
with
Brody
people.
is on top of
Yeah.
it, Brody.
I think what I was getting at was the design, is the design, with the design being made to deter transients? How about, is that a good word we use here?
Yes,
To deter,
right?
how,
Well, no, because they can sit there
oh, okay.
and they can fall
Right.
asleep.
To deter it becoming a residence. Let's go with that. How about that? We're creating designs so people don't want to spend a large amount of time on there. And how uncomfortable is that gonna be for the average user?
Or an overnight
Yeah,
stay.
overnight or something like that.
I mean.
Yeah, if there was no concert up there, that's a while.
I mean,
If you're performing, you might put them to sleep.
Well, they won't sleep while I'm performing, I can guarantee you
No,
that.
I know, that's the last thing to do is to fall asleep.
It's a good question, Linda, but
But
it's
the-
something for it.
right, the park itself, like Morgan Street Park, eventually, when we get all, well, in the design, we were thinking that we were going to gate it off too, is that right?
No,
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 okay,
the only thing about a gate would be at the end of Morgan
that's what I'm talking
Street
about, yes.
before you go down the bank.
Yes, was to just,
But you could always open that if
Yes.
people were
When
bringing
it-
up boats or something. Yeah,
yes,
that's where the
yeah,
gate came in.
the thought was to keep cars and RVs out.
Yeah, you don't wanna have them running around.
Wendell, the term you're looking for, and I'm not saying I'm for or against it, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's called hostile architecture.
Yes, that is.
Oh, there's no spikes on it.
Yeah, that's
Hostile architecture. Yeah, it's just like created a lot of dialogue.
Yeah, as of late,
Yeah.
as of late.
No, it can be something as simple as, you have a nice curved arm on the end of the bench,
Or one in the middle
one in the
that
middle.
separates.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
instead of a 6 foot, have an 8 foot, but then you're,
Yes.
but if you put an armrest in
Yeah.
the center.
Or like
Yeah.
subways, what they've done is they used to have benches on for people to sit,
Yeah.
like if you're pregnant or elderly or whatever. And then they have taken those out and put just like little things to like lean against instead. And that's to prevent people from sleeping
Oh.
on them in the subway areas. But then, yeah, it's just like, it's just a movement that people are talking about. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, anyway, and then we talked about, I don't think we really talked too much about Chester Moore Park, but,
Right,
there's an issue with the drainage ditch in there that the county owns, but, the the other committee I'm on now, which is, the, river access project.
Yes,
Um,
had a name change.
Yeah, so I worked with one of the engineers on the bridge railing here, and his boss is now on that committee. I'm on that committee now, so I was gonna mark, and I was gonna try talking to him about maybe what they would or wouldn't do, like under the bridge. They have an easement under the 106 building to maintain that rock and stuff under the bridge. And, well, also the, that drainage ditch over on Chester Moore. So, anyway, that's something that we're still gonna be looking at. And, I think the rest of it, that was kind of it for most of it, I think,
Yes.
today.
think
Yeah, I think so.
I believe the city attorney has looked into the drainage ditch, and I'll have him follow up with me on Monday when he's here.
Yeah, I
Him
did.
and I talked, did he email you about it?
Huh?
Or not? No, Tyler? Did Tyler get a hold of you? He looked
No.
into the easements and the language and the history of that. So
Yeah, I saw the city council meeting from, I don't know, 20 years ago, whenever that was done, and how that happened, and I was kind of surprised.
Okay.
Especially after reading the deed, on it. Or the lease, I should say.
Okay, we'll look, I'll circle back with him on that.
I think that was it.
I think so, yes.
Is there anything else? You covered all that.
Thank you, Ernie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a lot of work.
He does, he works so hard.
Okay, then, do we have any, update on dog park stuff at this point?
We are meeting in February, February 7th. We are also waiting for weather to turn slightly nicer, so we can start putting our nice solar panel, lighting, into the area. We have everything, we're just waiting for weather.
So the first one that's gonna be finished is the one down Jefferson?
Correct,
Okay.
Southwest Jefferson. And we'll have more updates for you guys after we had our meeting about the other two.
And that's something we could post in my window too, because people ask me,
We have lots of things to talk about. I'll send you guys the agenda.
thank you.
Okay. Good to know. Okay, then on to the, advertising and recreation subcommittee.
So we met for the first time. When was this, Sandy?
We met for the first
January
time, that's
5th
okay.
on the,
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks, I think.
on the memo, it says January 5th
There you
is
go.
when you met.
Long time ago.
Alright. 20 days ago, what the hell?
Um,
I know.
so, we, Nicole, she was interested mostly on, putting out the content, just giving her content, and she was thinking of creating one specific font, one specific logo.
Yeah.
And it's just basically inputting information on almost like this blocks type of thing. Maybe we talked about perhaps even, creating a hashtag for, the parks and recs. So far we have three ongoing hashtags for the city, and this would be its fourth one. We did talk a little about volunteer, and what it looks like, and I was talking to Kay a couple of days ago, and I was trying to wrap my brain around how to express this. Since I started working here, I realized that, there are a lot of people that wanted to help, that are not part of the already committees and groups out there, backs, leading with, and they came here, I'm here to help, how can I volunteer? And we have no idea as to where to send them. Yes, you can contact the bulletin board, or yes, you can contact them, but sometimes it's just easier to just take the information and then delegate them to wherever they need to go, especially with new events coming up with, like, for example, the tournaments that are gonna be going, or the dog 5K that we want to have here at the city. Technically, those are not run by Rotary and they're not run by other things, so that was one of the things that we mostly talked about. We are still looking for one more member from this group to join. And my biggest question to you guys is, do you still wanna just have a 6-month rotation, or until one of you guys say, I'm tapping out, someone else needs to tap in for me? I don't know how that looks like for you guys, but we do need people that can help us with advertising.
I know those promotions. I'm already really busy with so many things.
Yeah.
I'd love to do more, but I just like can't. I can't commit myself to anything else, any extras right now, so
Does design work? And promotions?
There's new people in town too, just to take a little weight off of legal.
Yes, I am involved in promotion. Yes, I'm involved in advertising. Yes, I'm very well versed at that. To what degree you would be seeking, and that would be the only avenue that I would have time to involve myself in with that as my other projects take precedence. So I want to hear what it is you're interested in for advertising, what the goal is.
For right now is to get us started. For example, we are, earlier we were talking about, we were just talking about,
Listing park amenities,
yeah, or having,
where they are, where is the Southside Park?
or like, for example, right now we were asking, well, we need signs to have the community, the community garden.
Mhm.
How they look like, where do they go? They would go originally to the subcommittee group. And they'll bring that up. We have this, and this, here you go. Because a lot of the informations that we are all trying to do at the same time is in different groups. It's sometimes easier to have it down from one space and bringing the information. Or sometimes when you guys are like, hey, I'm part of the Amphitheater group, I need volunteers. You will go to this subcommittee, I need volunteers, I need 6 volunteers to help me out with, I don't know, planning. Then we will send out stuff like, we need planners, people that help with planning for amphitheaters.
Like recruitment, outreach, advertising.
So my expertise would fall into the category of event advertising, okay? Not in designing campaigns or any larger than, how would I, I'm trying to find the right words here.
I know that there's different types of adverts.
Yeah,
We are also looking for content for the website. To have, we talked about earlier of having a log for each park, and that can help the community see, this is what we are planning for our parks. This is what we're planning for City Park. Expect a cabinet in let's say March, and that will have like this type of equipment inside that you can use for free. So that would be part of the advertising group.
So let me think it over and I'll get back to you, because honestly, it sounds like more than I'm willing to get involved in at this juncture. But perhaps you and I can have a parlay outside of here, and you can.
Yeah, I'm not expecting someone to.
Yeah, and you can,
Yeah.
and we can talk about that then. Fair?
Yeah, and I think if anybody is watching this, cause we've got Joe's YouTube, we've got everybody's word of mouth in here, but if anybody is interested in helping with that, that would be really
Yes.
useful.
I
You don't have to be a member of this group.
I would be able to help with like creating some content. I wouldn't be able to like necessarily make it to meetings. like all the time, I can't commit to the meetings, but I could help with, creating some kind of visuals or writing something to go into the like updates on the website and stuff like that. I can
Yeah, and that, stuff like that would help, and mostly also, knowing that there is this committee right here, and we do have more, let's say, more people coming in and giving their expertise or helping out every other week, then you guys have of a say as to where that help needs to be at, so they're not just floating in
So
limbo.
it's pretty much like basically a one contact group to be able to, so we don't have to say, oh, like tell like 5 or 6 people, can you do this for me, can you do this? We say, send all the information to this group and say,
It's the
this is
hub.
what we need, it's like our hub,
It is
yeah,
our hub.
okay,
Especially later on when we have the Southside Park,
right,
starting to get, after the whole electricity stuff.
Can I just say there's some new people in town? And I'll leave it at that. I've not talked to them about this, but they're amazing.
Yeah, if you guys know someone that can help, is willing to volunteer for this type of work, we're more than happy to have them.
Yeah, and his name is Raymond, him and his partner came to the chamber breakfast, and he is currently, his specialty is audio visual, and hers is,
She's
Graphic designer.
yes, graphic designer, and she's in thoroughbreds. This couple's amazing. I don't know if they're interested, maybe they'll listen to this, I'm just saying, let's not name names, but let's reach out and see if we might, they're really, she's from here, and he had a lot to do with, like when you say that, what's the and the Marines, I mean, they really know what they're doing, so let's reach out, let Kay and I kind of reach out to them and see if they might be interested.
yeah, because right now Raymond is working with the American Legion to get them up and running on their website or create a website or do a lot of stuff. But he is a veteran of the Marine Corps for 10 years. He was in the audio visual portion. He made stuff, I think advertisements or something like that.
Literally, he was part of
Yeah,
creating that, what is it called, the
recruitment thing.
the
Yes,
the Marines, I
yes.
can't think of it, the big thing.
Yeah, you know,
Say
the
it's-
proud, the few.
The proud, the few, the Marines, yeah, that was
That
part
was
of
his
him.
slogan.
So
yeah.
we're talking, these people are really,
And he came
No,
from,
definitely.
he worked in LA for a long time, for a while.
and she's amazing too, and
Yeah.
you just met them. There's new people coming into town,
I
and I
don't,
propose that we could reach out. you
I
know.
don't know who these people are,
Mhm.
but I'd like to get to know who they are.
I would.
I'd like to get to know who they are
ask them
very
if they
much.
would like to come to the next
I
meeting and
already
just,
kind of, I was the first person they met in town. Cause the Huguenot store and, I've got contact with them. I would love to involve them if they are willing, but that's what I'm saying, we're kind of on YouTube and all that right now, and I'm just supposed to do that privately, but I would like just to say that there are new people coming into town all the time, and they might just really want to be involved, because they really love our community already.
Well, yeah, like for example, we need to start thinking about what brochures look like in town.
Okay, that's what I'm working, okay.
So
May I-
those could be part of this
Omega.
group.
This is one of the things that I'm working on with Chamber of Commerce, and just so you guys, I don't know if this is the right venue to mention this, but I mentioned it in Rotary, and I mentioned it in Chamber, and I mentioned all over the place. John Stanislaw is, he and I are working on something in our storefront.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you know this, so, we're trying really hard to do some brochures, possibly a, TV, what do we call it?
Well, it would be like yes, in the front window of the
our
mercantile, and it would, loop through
Yes.
information about the town, businesses and things like that.
like a slideshow.
Yes,
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, cool,
We
okay,
have one here
really
that does the
looking forward.
history.
yeah.
Exactly, well, we're thinking about, the museum and mission businesses, the garden, I mean, everything about what Sheridan is. I actually majored in this in college, when I went back when I was 30. Cause that's what I wanted to do, I was gonna work for the Chamber of Commerce kind of thing, and I didn't do it, but I went to cosmetics and that's all she wrote. But I want to be involved in this because it's my passion. And Brad and you guys all know this, we wanna keep our businesses open. We wanna keep Sheridan afloat, it's my family has a lot invested in this town. And I'm very invested and I want to help. That's why I volunteer and I want to make our storefront window a kiosk. So John has approached the chamber, we're approaching the Rotary, we're approaching a lot of ideas on this. And Raymond and a couple were interested in the ideas too. So I'm hoping that something really cool can come about this. But if we could do some kind of, you know, like Don said, paperwork that I can present at the front of the store, as well as this, what did you just call it?
Yeah.
Really tired.
Slideshow.
Slideshow,
I'm
yeah.
getting really tired. The slideshow, I've got like all kinds of ideas for the front window. And I love the Chamber of Commerce. I love going to the one in Lincoln City, the one in Newburgh, the one in McMinnville. They're really cool, and I'd like to be able to help with that. And so kind of what you're saying is what I'm thinking too.
Excellent.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so just keep me in the loop in emails and stuff, I guess, if that's what we need to do right now. Okay,
Excellent, thank you.
alright, the Yamco Park and Recreation. So the meeting happened just the other day? It
So
was-
the meeting did not happen.
Okay.
The snow kinda and the ice.
Oh, it's in February, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, never mind, I read it as was gonna be held on January 21st instead of, okay, I get it, I just read it.
So the only reason why I don't expect me to have content for this, I will just say a summarize overly, because the meetings happen on the third Wednesday, and then we have third Thursday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so like now I kind of do, so on the December meeting that we had, we were talking about having, every year they have a passport, that
Yeah.
the people can go and then they get prices, so we discussed what it looks like for this year, and, about having certain members take care of each park that they're close and related to. The closest for us is just outside of town with a nice pond and the deck.
Are you talking about Deer Park or Greenfield?
I believe here.
Deer,
Oh,
because we
Deer.
also have Greenfield Park.
Yeah, but we slightly closer
It's
to
actually
us.
steered,
Yeah, by where you turn at Dairy Queen?
we're at the Elk platform and all that.
Yeah, so, we, a lot of people were talking like, if you're closest to that certain park, maybe adopt that park, the person, and, start promoting it, be in close with surrounding cities, how can cities and those parks, younger parks, start communicating, and what else did we talk about? Oh, they're in contact also with, the McMinnville Parks and Recs, and they're using one of their pages as advertising for the parks. So I don't know how that looks like for us, and maybe we should start communicating with other larger cities once we have more.
I've been trying to
more
contact, I live in Dundee.
Mhm.
And I just gave Heidi and Marianne the cards, business cards that's why I gave you that card,
I know.
because I've been trying to do that too.
So that is kind of what I have. We will meet again on the 21st for February, so hear back from me soon.
Okay, thank you. And I guess we'll have to have our update for the RC car thing, or do you have some information?
Yeah, Nicole told me to tell you guys that she's been in contact with Hanson.
Okay,
He's indisposed at the moment, but we'll reach out to Nicole / the group when he is in full capacity to do so.
okay. Sounds good. Alright. Alright, I think we've been waiting for this one. Wendell, you're up.
Oh, am I up?
Amphitheater time.
Let me just say that I've had members of the public come up to me and they're very excited.
Yeah.
People
Oh,
from all
indeed.
different walks of life, so.
Very, very true indeed. And before we get into that, as we get into that, I put a public post on the Sheridan page, explaining and showing a picture of a projected ideal, along with, inviting everyone in the city to come and put in their input. As we can see by the, gallery here, there's 3 people. I did receive a lot of input via the internet,
Yeah.
some really good, some really bad. There's always gonna be sour grapes here and there, right?
Yep.
And even those sour grapes, I invited to this meeting to come share their ideas, and I really wish you guys had, because here we are now, and this is the time for that.
Yeah.
Moving forward, I not only shared the idea with our own city here.
Is this?
Yeah, well, I'll get to that in just a moment.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Omega. But I also shared it on my music page. This is just my band, but we are an international group. And because of that, let me just go to here and just quickly, as I pull through, it'll only take me about a moment.
What was that page again?
The Sheridan Neighborhood Watch.
Not the other page you mentioned, your page.
No, that's my personal.
Okay.
That was my personal, my band page.
Okay.
So, and that's because it's all, everybody connected on there is our entertainers throughout the world, right? And what a great thing. And so I've shared with these people that we're putting this in, right? And I'm just gonna pull off the top of here. There's a classic style rock and roll band called Cherry Slick from London, England, that wants to come play the stage here. Isn't this
So
crazy?
we're already getting a lot of
Isn't this-
interest.
Isn't
I
this
love that.
amazing?
I love that.
This is not a joke. Mike's marketing, he's a promoter from Kentucky. He wants to get bands here of all different genres. I've got a guy from Nashville, Tennessee that wants to bring his country western stars down here and play the stage. It's just crazy, just for the record band. They say very nice. The Fishmans, great job, Johnny. That's a great idea, mate. They're from England as well. We've got people all over the world that are Sonic Honey, sweet. What's the location? On the air tonight with John and Brandon's podcast show. It says, giving these incredible artists a place to play. We say, heck yeah, and thank you. These are out one after another from all over the world of people already excited about this. And why is that important to me? Because my goal with this is not to have myself a stage to play on. It's to bring, to give a name to this city outside of what it already has, and an opportunity for every one of these businesses to prosper. For everybody to prosper, okay? Everyone. Okay, let's go. Hill Family Construction and Ryder Construction have come out and taken a look at the property. They're pretty excited about that. We do have Omega, can you go to the one that is the an actual stage? I think I sent you, yeah. So here is a photo of what they're looking at, a style type of, okay? This is 50 feet wide by 30 feet deep. Now I'm gonna step up to here. Oh, I'll go here.
too.
I'll go here. Okay, so, but we wouldn't include these seats because different kinds of events won't want seats in the front in the way. Okay, there might be a band where it might be well, let's just say it's danceable music.
Right.
We don't want a bunch of seats in the middle of the dance area, right? People can bring their own folding chairs if they wanna do that. Great, great. Okay, here is a problem from the get-go. As you see this roof, let's go back to Ernie's ideas here. You see that roof? What do we see here? A homeless shelter, don't we? Don't we? We see a place where people might seek shelter, right? So that's something that I'll address.
We'll have the whole park blocked.
Correct. But that doesn't mean people can't hop over the fence. But we'll get to that, okay? Grand.
Put a sprinkler system.
Prisons, right?
Well, so what I was thinking was and these are still just preliminary ideas, we can have solar panels on the roof for lighting that comes on at night, shining down, which makes it intrusive and uncomfortable, doesn't it?
Yes.
Right? We can have lights, and we know that we're gonna have security cams for going into the park. And we do know there's a federal prison next door, isn't there? I bet they've got some security over there too, don't they? I got a feeling they do, okay? Can we go to another slide?
Which one?
The one without the blue air lines.
That one?
Yes, can you,
I had a question
yes,
on that last slide.
yes,
Was there little roofs that extend out over where the band is?
yes.
Is that closed then?
No, it's cool.
No, that's just a permanent, a fixed roof.
Yeah.
Not the big roof, but there's another short one there.
Let's go back to it,
It's
Cameron.
like an amphitheater, yeah, I've seen those.
Is that a little roof underneath the big roof?
Come up, please.
We can
It's
point
light
to it.
color, the other light
Yeah,
color,
but
It's right here.
the other light.
Yeah.
No, that's just a roof. That's
Okay,
that's a
that doesn't-
ceiling.
that doesn't
That's the
show.
It's
No, that's a
different
ceiling.
in coloring.
That's a ceiling.
Alright,
And
I see what you're
just
thinking.
curious.
And so something that was discussed was having the roll type
Mhm,
garage door
yeah.
type thing, like you'd find, or even with the grate style that you'd see like in the shopping mall. Where they close off each little individual that could come up and down. That's a thought.
Expenditure that.
That's a thought, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to the next slide, shall we? If you have any chance, you can just turn the TV.
Rotate.
Just turn the
The
TV.
No, let's not get.
Well, Omega, just skip this one and go to the next one, will you?
We get
I
it
think
though.
you'd be right.
Yeah. So here's something, if we look, this is looking towards the front, okay, see, this, yeah, right, that's great.
Hold on, she's gonna download them so she can flip the direction,
Okay.
cause they're just like.
And I'm gonna go to the rest of the ones.
That one. Not that one.
Heidi.
Am I being helpful? Close. Not that one.
Are you a backseat computer
Yeah,
driver?
that one.
They're not even waiting for me to say which one.
Yeah.
This is only, not that one, not that
This is the one you were on. Now we have to rotate.
one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just turn your
Right
neck.
click.
Oh,
Right click.
if you can't rotate it, don't worry about it, we'll just,
turn our neck.
You can go
yeah, we'll turn our
resize.
necks.
What is it?
Resize.
Resize, right there? Right there. Okay, just.
Okay, just cancel that. Can you, if you clicked directly on the picture, would it give you an option of rotate?
Yes, that's what I.
What did you say?
Because what you're
Click
looking
on the picture
It
itself.
might be on more.
no,
No, that's what she's.
no, because it would be under edit crop.
Yeah. What a bummer.
Okay, anyways, moving forward.
Okay, yeah.
Just,
Very well.
We're moving
Turn left.
sideways.
just go like that, yeah.
Just go like that.
That's fine.
Okay, let's pretend,
Yes.
pretend. As you can see these slopes on the sides here, correct?
Yes,
Now let's turn it back flat, those would be ADA ramps.
okay, gotcha.
Kind of, because an ADA ramp at this height would have to be like 18 feet long
Oh.
to meet specs. But if I reflect in my mind, out of all the venues I've played, and all the concerts I've been to, I've never seen an ADA ramp onto a stage. Very interesting. It also was brought up that, hey, I don't see any kind of guardrail around it for ADA. Well, I've never seen a guardrail around a stage in my life. So I don't know. Now, the difference might be is that this is a city government project, right? So I don't know. So that's something we'll have to investigate.
Yeah, cause I've seen lots of stages in parks though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I've
there's-
never,
like,
like,
no,
like,
no,
and I've
I've
never seen
that
any
either.
ADA accommodations to a stage in the park.
Sherwood has ADA ramps to theirs,
Excellent.
and it winds, it doesn't go straight out.
Right,
It's like
right.
so long and it's kind of tucked behind, but they
Mhm.
do have an ADA.
And so even at that, I've been discussing with the architect that maybe we just have one ramp
Mhm.
that does go down the side rather than being intrusive, kids falling over it, whatever it's going to
Yeah,
be.
and they had railings just down the ramp itself.
Yeah,
Right.
that's.
Because this ramp isn't necessarily for a handicapped entertainer to get their equipment on the stage, to get it up and down from the stage. It's more for wheeling up heavy equipment
That's what.
up and down the stage,
Yeah,
right?
I don't wanna pack that amp on my.
I don't either. I'm the same, I don't pack nothing. Okay, but we can see we're going 55 by whatever, blah, 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 blah. Can we move to the one that has the blue?
Also opportunities for people to come on stage, to be actively
Right.
involved if they're at ADA.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So to be brought up on stage or to be engaged.
Well, and our youth.
Inclusion,
Um,
exactly, inclusion piece of it.
The one with the blue.
That's fine, yes, thank you. Okay, now, I know you guys can still see this, you're looking straight on it, right? That is this direction, you see?
Yes, yes.
All of the gray area is stage area. Aha, see these two sections? These have doors that open here, and these are storage spaces. Okay, because there's gonna be equipment that's gonna be owned, that needs to be stored somewhere. And with the proper security and the proper build of this, proper locking system, weatherization, equipment can stay in there all year and be safe. It'll have to be monitored, checked on, make sure it's dry in there and what have you. Fine, good to go. They've got a staircase on each side as well, for getting up and down. As far as that goes, I'm good with that. I want to just move on to here. Does anybody have any questions on this?
This is
Could
a lot of
we
work
do
you've done.
ADA on one side and stairs on the other side?
That could certainly be done. Yeah, and the reason I would agree with that is, well, I'm trying to keep costs down.
Yeah.
And that way you could wind on one side and
Right.
just have stairs.
Some of the figures I've heard so far from construction companies are pretty high.
Yeah.
They're pretty high, it's not a joke. And here's what some of them had to say, is that don't count yourself short, and this is this falls into the end of this, and it's in your little pamphlet there. The Gorge Amphitheater started with a man with a
Right.
field and an idea.
Yep.
And now that place holds thousands of people. I'm not trying to say I wanna get this thing going to take over the entire city of Sheridan. I'm saying we have to use our minds properly. You don't wanna bring a measuring cup when you need a bowl, okay, right? You the whole thing, okay.
Yeah.
Moving on,
Wendell, how much did they say?
I don't think I should say that because
Oh,
these are professionals that need to put in their own professional bid.
fine.
Yeah, I'd be jumping the gun.
Can you,
There are grants available for the ADA access parts, just.
Exactly, and we'll get to that.
Sarah is very good at the ADA stuff.
Yeah, well, let me get through this and then if I feel comfortable with, no, I don't think I should give somebody else's
No,
figures.
I don't expect you to.
Yeah, I think that they
I
should,
just need to you and I should talk offline about that so that I can start to calibrate which grants to go after.
yeah, so that's all in my thing here. Okay, we do have an architect that is drawing up the finals to present, a final to present, right? And then those will have to go through codes and all that, right? And be yes or no. Okay, also,
Wendell's been working very hard.
I have, they also suggested that the area, can you pull up the park?
And who is they again?
The construction companies,
Okay, thank you.
the bidders,
The bidders, okay,
the
thank you.
bidders.
Are you talking about this part?
Huh?
Yes, the Southside.
It's
It's late,
silly
guys.
goose.
It's late.
The pond part.
Pond,
Right. Okay, let's go to layers. There we go.
Who's it now?
Where she is.
Okay, so
might go in a little closer to where the pond area. You're good. Is that good? Wendell, or over to the?
So I want you to bring it down. Okay, so we were talking about, see this brown spot? In this area here, facing into this grove of trees, because you see it's all open in between the trees, right?
Right.
That was the original idea, and I still like that very much. There's a little dead tree here that needs to go.
We are gonna take that out already.
And I'd like to, we'll talk about this at a later date. But the people putting in bids, their thought was, you're building an amphitheater and an audience area for 100 people. When you really want, when it might end up being 500-600 people. I mean, as years go by, this thing, it's only gonna get better if we put our hearts into it. I'm putting all of my heart into this, it's just going to grow. So their suggestion was, and I know this is wet and soggy and yucky, and it'll have to be conversations about this, but they're talking about wanting to put it over here somewhere, facing in this direction. I would hate to put it right here and have 300-400 people show up to some event, and there's nowhere for them to go.
Right.
So, but that's something that we'll talk about as we go. I just wanted to share that with you.
How soggy is that? I mean, it's not a wetland, is it?
It is.
Or it is?
It is a designated wetland? Then how are you guys gonna put in a dog park and a disc golf in there?
Cause there's no net change.
There's no
Disc
what?
golf's not over there, for starters, the disc golf is not in that area. And you have to worry about things like net. Basically, it's like a
You'd
net
have to swap
change.
land, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So
And you're
basically, you're digging and you're creating and you're putting in a pervious surface, right? Concrete.
Yes.
And so then that's filling in a wetland. And so then you have to start questioning or finding another place where you're gonna make it wholesome, like, or you have to buy land into that, which is about $80,000 an acre right now. Yeah, to buy wetlands.
So when you use some wetland, you have to replace some wetland, is that what you're saying?
Yes, or preserve some for the rest of the future.
I understand,
Definitely.
I get
So
it.
you have to find somebody who owns a wetland and then have a contract with them, but it has to be in the wetland bank for the state. It's pretty complicated to
Okay,
explain tonight,
Okay.
but that it's not doable, but the first thing is that we would have to have a wetland study done,
of course.
which is not undoable.
None of this
All
is
is
not
doable.
doable. None of this is not doable.
How
It's
much
all,
of
let's
that,
say it positive, it's all doable.
how
It's
much
all
of that,
doable.
What if
Just
we
takes
went
longer.
to, so you were
Just
saying
had
by
a
the
question
pond.
about.
Yes.
What if we went to the opposite side of that field, that little field?
Can you come up and show me?
Like on
I have a laser pointer in my
Maybe
truck.
pointing
Like
Oh.
over here. And then if it does get bigger, they can sit out here if it's dry enough.
Facing where and how?
Facing like this way. So if it does get bigger, they could spread out here if it's dry enough during the season.
That's interesting, but what do we have in the way? The trees are in the way rather than audience being in the middle of
Well,
the
if we
trees.
take one, we plant
cut
one.
them down?
Oh, yeah, we can,
Yeah, we take one, we plant one.
we're gonna, let's become a tree city after
Yeah.
we've had.
And I'm fine with that, I'm
Well,
with that.
is that looking uphill versus downhill, or what's it?
And see, that's another thing is
Yeah.
with it being here, this is a bit of a hill and you can look down onto the amphitheater. The other way, you're like, it's this.
Yes.
Now
Well,
we're
like
doing the
at
opposite.
the zoo, their amphitheater, the hill does go up and that way people can see.
Yeah, that's what I'm
it.
saying. Right now it's like this,
Okay,
but from over there it would be the opposite.
Yeah,
But that doesn't mean, once again, that the ground cannot be manipulated.
How would that affect the disc golf?
Yeah.
That would be the other question.
Well, this golf, sorry. I would have to look at the disc golf layout, but essentially disc golf, after so many times, it gets relocated. Like
Right,
after
correct.
years
They-
of it, so that it
Yes.
needs to be fresh, but what that looks like too is, that's a big process, so kind of relocate it, has to go to design, and then you have to put in new concrete pads, but anyways, they do that for tournaments, they relocate things. I don't know how you feel about me saying this, but disc golfers really do like challenges and obstacles, and so maybe it presents some sort
Right.
of an obstacle to be thrown over, I don't know.
And-
I'm just
and
making
another-
this up, Wendell is getting
So,
money here.
looking at, is there on the right side of that road, is that part of the park also?
This road,
No,
this road,
yes.
That's the wetland area.
No,
So
that's
is that-
an entry into,
that's not, that's fenced off by the prison.
Okay, so that's.
Yes, it is.
yes and no, yeah.
But that's fenced off, how about that?
That's city, there's some city utilities in that area,
Yes.
but the city owns everything to the other side too.
Is that all wetland too?
Many acres, I have no idea. You know, there hasn't been a lot of information on that area, I think, in years,
Well, the only reason I'm asking is because,
in years.
like with the
There was a
floodplain
study.
map, like I have for Sheridan, you know, it shows you the floodway and then the, well, where the flood area is and the floodway area. But like, you can overlay it like on that, and it'll show you how much of that is designated wetland. And
Right.
then it'll show it for the
Was the
whole
wetland.
property, so you can say, well, this one isn't wetland, so how about if we took dirt out of there and put it over here and created the wetland over there?
Right, exactly.
But if you know, you have to have a bigger map to show the whole,
Mhm.
and know exactly how much of that is technically wetland.
Right, and I'm interested in hearing and seeing all that, yes.
One of the benefits of Sandy working here a while ago is that she has an institutional knowledge, like when the park was created. So she was here for that, and so she reminds me that
And
it
they
is.
made the pond.
Yeah, when they made the pond, and so it is a wetland park. And so we're gonna try to find that study again, because there was also, I know that there was some earthwork done with some exchange or something with the city and the SDI or something with land and dirt. And so that's something that Sandy and I think she can find.
still.
I think I've seen some pictures recently that you
Yeah,
have.
did, I found more stuff on it.
Okay, so we're gonna try to pull or find some of that research and look into that.
Excellent, okay.
Yes, and for long-term thought process, is there like gonna be an overflow parking area? Cause when people come, you know, that parking lot there is gonna fill to the max. Is it gonna be
Indeed it is.
across the road? Where are we having additional parking?
Is there a field there that you can
From
park
somewhere
right in,
else.
temporary for concert?
But that's an interesting question, isn't it? That's another road we're gonna have to go down
Yeah,
and find out.
yeah,
I mean, if the parking lot as it sits was maintained and made it so structured,
uh-huh,
with people being directed how and where to park,
yes,
right? That's certainly helpful, right?
yes, it is.
I don't think, I mean, miracles happen, but I don't think 300 people will show up 300 cars.
Well,
Okay.
I would say like for events that would be like that, there could even be the option of having people park at the high school and take a little shuttle. Have like little shuttles go back and
Yeah.
forth
Yeah,
and
there's no
stuff like
extra
that.
field.
I
Farmer
would
fields
suggest
over there.
again,
They can sell parking.
the city owns property across the street, right? No? Okay.
Across the street.
You know, the big tower thing, is that?
Yeah, we don't, technically, I don't remember exactly how that works, but we have and we use exactly what's there. And that's
Okay.
all public
Mhm.
utility
Oh,
and water, and so we
alright.
don't let people
Okay.
typically into our water area.
Okay,
Right.
But it's used, like the footprint is
Okay.
used.
all right, well, like I
But there
said,
are farmers over there, and so sometimes they may want to open their fields up, I don't know.
And this is something we can discuss with them,
Yeah.
and it's the same with all kinds of outdoor venues that are pop-up style.
yeah,
The community, the farmers, hey, if you're gonna pay me $10 a car to park in my lot,
Or-
come on in.
yeah, RV, even
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
RVing in and,
Absolutely, and so, yes, that was one of my
Yeah.
thoughts, was a shuttle system.
Right.
We've got plenty of parking around here that would be available,
Right.
if
The high
people,
school, maybe
if we
they-
could
High
set up
school,
a shuttle
over here at
system.
grade school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
my parking lot.
alright.
Cheerleaders would probably help and make some money.
Oh,
yeah.
I know those cheerleaders.
Car wash, I hate cheerleader car wash while they're doing it. Okay, moving
No,
forward.
those cheerleaders are always.
Okay,
Good. Raising money.
Oh, and we touched on this just a tiny bit, but about a name for this place. I'd like to have the city and the folks and the citizens involved in naming this thing. And I kind of want to push the idea that this has something to do with the future of Sheridan, not the past of Sheridan. I know we live in a small town, and I've been all over the world, but when you end up in these small towns, and I don't mean it insulting, but these country back roads, back that kind of towns, everybody wants to name everything the wheelbarrow, the wagon train, the broken down thing, the chainsaw, okay? It's not, everything doesn't have to revolve around 100 years ago. We have a whole future ahead of us. Okay, we can look into the future and give it something uplifting and forward. That's my vision. Doesn't have to be my vision, but if it doesn't, I'll pout. Okay, let's see what else. Oh, that about it bringing revenue. This is gonna tie up into a couple things. Twite Entertainment in Spokane, I spoke with them and they were very leery. They said that they will not use any of these type of things for putting on any events in their area because the city of Spokane put up 3 of these. Okay? Even if you're doing a free event, it's $1,200 to the city to use it, plus your own security. You have to rent 10 porta potties from the city to use it. And moving forward, that is a lot of work. That is called a cash cow for the city, not a cash cow for the city. Right? Once you have an event you plan and you're $5,000 deep on just getting the door open,
Yeah.
then what are you gonna do? Now you've gotta charge $30 a head to get in, right? And that's just the promoter.
Are you looking at me?
No, I'm just. And on that, I'll get back to that, but, so, yes,
And rental fees will still be important though.
Wendell and I have talked about it,
Yeah.
with keeping itself afloat.
Yes.
keeping itself afloat,
Electricity and
yes.
everything, yeah.
Maybe the whole, go hard.
And so, we'll get to that. I hear the term pay to play all the time. It's an evil, dirty, ugly word. It's a very ugly, dirty word. It's where your sink is leaking. It's leaking underneath your sink, right? And you call the plumber and you say, load up all of your equipment and your employees and have them drive to my house and do the work, unload all your equipment, do the work, and then pay me for letting you do it. That's the same thing people do to entertainers. Load up all your stuff, come to my place, and pay to get on my stage so I can earn money off of your talent. Okay? That's a big no-no in the entertainment industry. Big time. So how do we handle that? How do we handle getting a fee out of that? My thought is through grant money and or sponsorships, but listen, even through the Ford Foundation, which is a huge foundation, they've got tons of money for the arts, we could get a fund set up that is designed simply for paying artists and or covering costs. And there's no reason that, there is a reason that can not happen by nobody making it happen.
Right.
That's the only thing that's, and you are in the entertainment industry as well.
Yeah.
You're an actor, you are an actor. Okay, so you understand how this works. There is, I see in my mind there being a grant funded fund set aside. So let's say we've got an all-day festival of bluegrass bands.
They could play the prison blues.
They could play the prison blues, and we can, and they're gonna say, well, we want $200 per band to play. Well, let's call that 6 bands. There's $1,200, right? Big deal. Out of a fund, big deal. Okay, the power's gotta be covered. Well, okay. There's also food trucks and stuff that will want to be involved. And they're gonna be making profit straight up.
Yeah.
And there's no reason they shouldn't have a fee to have their truck there. If they're raking in $5,000 a day selling tacos, there's no reason the city shouldn't get $100 of it.
Yeah,
Right.
you have to have the fee to plug
So
it.
to basically
Right,
plug it in,
right,
yeah.
and that will
That makes
cover,
total sense.
cover that, right?
the permits.
Somebody does have to pay for,
Yeah.
somebody does have to pay to have that septic emptied, right? And with this many people, that will be a thing. That will, or whatever kind of system that is, that will be a thing, and I think that will be a good way to get those funds.
That is a good question. Will the existing structure that we have, restroom, be enough? Or do they need?
Oh, no,
No.
oh, no. No, I was,
Bring in porta potties.
Okay.
Yeah.
For events.
yeah, well, I was under the impression that a restroom was going in there.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's not gonna be
giant.
big enough for like a multi, huge
Well,
event,
no, of course,
right, yeah.
of course. And we can, we'll
Keep that with
figure that out.
staff.
We'll figure out, yeah, how many
Yeah,
people
we're
can
just-
get into that one.
We're just in day, this isn't gonna happen until 2025, right?
Which part? Do you mean
Any
building
of
it or the first
Any of it.
music on it? Okay.
Yeah, there won't be anybody on that stage and wanting to use that porta potty until 2025.
At the earliest, right?
Well, I'd like to see this
You'll have
before
the
I'm
rest
dead.
of it in September.
Yeah.
I'd like to see us cut through all the bureaucracy and get it done. That's what I'd like to see.
Me
Uh,
too.
Well, I
So,
think what holds us up really is money.
and we're gonna take care of that. We're going to take care of that. I do not have any subcommittee. I am my own subcommittee and my own committee. And and when I started this, this evening, and talking about how I had invited everybody here, and I had plenty of conversations via internet with folks, come, because I wanted people to join a committee. So I still don't have anybody for that, cause we are all super duper busy as it is.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a committee, hello, where you guys are out there,
Hello.
I'm looking, hold on, let me
I
finish,
just
please.
didn't see that part, I
I mean-
would have said yes.
Let me finish, please. I'm looking for a committee of people that can seek grants for this. We do have some people here that work in this building that are good at that, but I need people that can focus on the type of grants I'm looking for and get those. But not just that, hold on, I'm gonna tie you into this in just a moment, okay? Not just grants, but sponsorships as well, okay? It takes a lot to make this happen. We had sponsor, it's gonna take lumber. If we had sponsorship, and plus, yes, if you're good at grants, absolute depositamente, let's do that. But we're certainly it would cut down costs an awful lot, to get sponsorship for lumber, excuse me, we're not like raw trees. You never know,
Unless you're gonna build it out of log.
we might, you never know.
Log cabin style.
Cool, but the Doug fir in Portland is all log cabin style, it's beautiful.
I'll tell you an alternative thought that I just had after this.
Okay, and so, sponsorship to me is a really big thing. And I have no problem with asking people for them, whether I'm asking Nike, the Ford Foundation, Dame Earl Ford, I don't care, I'm gonna ask them all. I'm gonna write up a proposal and I'm gonna ask every one of them. And sponsorship will come with a reward, and that reward will be, their name permanently placed on the front of the stage.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not gonna be the Dame Earl Ford Bass Pro Shop stage, it's just gonna say that stage was built by, in conjunction, and thank you to, right, with these names. And, and people are happy to do that. If you talk to them properly, approach them right. So that's the committee I need, is a grant seeking.
So if we're talking about grants, if you're saying bands would apply to get a grant or to have that space for free, or how does that work?
No, I'm saying that this group committee, this council would apply for grants that would be held in a fund. And when an entertainer sends us their rider, that's their demands, when they send us their rider, we look into our fund that is held aside. And if we can meet that.
This is like to
'cause we-
promote the arts type of
Correct.
funding.
It's a promote their
So
fund.
we're getting the grant and we promote art by
Correct,
paying the bills, so these guys can come on our stage and perform.
correct.
But then would they be selling tickets to these, or would it be free? tickets?
But you
I
can
would
combine it.
discourage, I'm trying to discourage ticket sales at all.
Just
And-
coming from the grant writing side of it,
Yes.
you would have to tread very carefully in that to get the big grants you're talking
Yes,
about.
yes,
with
yes.
ticket sales.
My thought is to avoid any kind of ticket sales, and here's why. Who wants to be the one with the finger pointed at them? Where'd the money go?
Yeah.
Where'd the money go? Where'd the money go? I can hear and see it already in this town. I don't want anything to do with any money.
Well, what you have to do is you have to, I think we would have to get a third party vendor.
Yeah,
Right.
That's the only way to really help with that.
Well, you're gonna have some money coming in.
Like
Yeah.
Ticketmaster, you know, that kind of thing that does all of that.
Like the Eventbrite, I think is a third party, isn't
And then you
it?
set up a separate fund for the
Yeah.
city. I mean, we manage millions of dollars here.
yes, but this, I just don't want it tied into Parks and Rec. I don't want it tied into Parks and Rec. I don't want any influx of money tied to Parks and Rec or to my
This
name.
Park and Rec is the city.
Yeah, I understand, but it's a committee of the city. Okay, I'm still standoffish about the ticket thing, and here's why.
I
I'm
understand.
trying to
but-
understand why we need,
We wanna have entertainment affordable to
Affordable.
just,
Yeah.
you know,
The people and
within
entertainment.
reach of
Yeah.
people, so
if the entertainers are already being paid through a grant,
yeah,
Yeah.
and,
makes sense.
and we're already getting money from the vendors, et cetera, for the use of the power and the rental of the space,
You could pay for parking too,
and parking is paid,
and pay
then what are the
fines.
ticket sales for? Greed?
Well, who's gonna pump the septic tank? Who's gonna pay for the extra porta potties?
Correct.
I'm just saying that at some point you may want some super cool band to come play and they charge an amount that the city cannot afford. So how does that even itself out then too?
Right.
So, you know, at the very beginning, I think we're talking about the grassroots level, but we're also starting to start to dream, right? And so
Yes.
we need to be sure that we're talking about the grassroots, I think, and having this, you know, family event, right? And everybody gets to go for free, and that is a beautiful thing. And I think that there are some, I'm looking right now at some small operating grants, you know, that is out there. And that's great and all, but I think at some point you may have to revisit that.
I'm not against it. I know I sound very upfront and forward about this, but I'm really asking questions.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it in a manner that invokes conversation.
I understand that you're saying the artist wouldn't have to pay to play. Are you saying that we would pay them to come play?
most do,
Yes.
most is.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm just
Yes,
wondering,
yes,
okay.
yes. And that would come out of that arts.
But eventually that will be depleted unless
Yeah.
it's always done by like a sponsorship. And so you may annually have like a couple of organizations that give you the money, but think about that. Once again, somebody's giving you money. The grant money has to be managed itself, and the administration of a grant comes with a lot of time commitment. So regardless, there is some exchange here of monetary, of money and time and labor and all of that. So eventually this has to, there will be money.
I understand. I just don't want it to fall on the artists having to pay everybody.
Right,
Completely
so the
understand.
grants
Yeah,
could
that's
go
my
towards
only
what-
fear with
Grants
that.
are still money, a check somewhere.
Yeah.
It's gotta be
Yes.
given, cash and given.
But it
Yes.
could be more put like, we are covering your cost of electricity usage and location usage. Rather than paying the band itself, we could be covering those operating costs with the grant money. Just that way it doesn't get depleted as much. We're not asking them to pay to play there. We're not paying them to play there. It's kind of a wash in that area. They
Right,
get to play.
Right, and then that is where ticket sales would come into, because once again, nobody's loading up their truck with their plumbing equipment to come here and do your work for free.
Yeah,
Either is the band.
there's gotta be a.
Well, they
pay-
could sell
pay and
merch,
gig.
they could.
Yeah, I mean, there's
other
other
ways,
stuff
yeah.
too, but,
There's other ways they could make money.
yeah, but the majority.
I'm with you, I
Yeah.
hear this every
Like
day.
if you're looking at,
from
if you're
booking
looking at
nights,
further in the
empty days.
future, at bigger groups, they are always, even though if they have their merch, they're gonna expect to be paid to go for.
There's
So,
also bigger questions here that
Yeah.
that will need to be vetted and
Yeah.
visited, and it's all through like contracts essentially.
Yeah.
Because one of the existing issues too is that we don't allow in our parks for any revenue
Yeah.
to be generated. And so, does that mean if it's like who's ever ABC company and they have their banner up there, does that have implicit, they only do that because they're gonna generate more business, right? They only sponsor stuff because it's good for them to try to build their name. And so we'll have to get into these conversations. Those are not for tonight. Those are very big conversations. Those are where we can get templates from other, Sherwood is a great example. There's a couple in Eastern Oregon that I can think of. And I think let's just get going forward with the small stuff.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the dreaming part.
Yes.
Yeah, Wendell, when I was telling you that I'd be persistent, I didn't mean grants, because we just talked about this in Rotary. The grant things are really, Dory just talked about this with the grants. It's a really slippery slope with the grants. We just talked about this in Rotary with her and her whole thing with the grants, and you might wanna have a conversation with Dory, superintendent of schools, cause she's dealing with the
I manage
largest.
millions of dollars of grants.
Yeah, and it's,
know.
I mean, you
Yes.
gotta go to school for this. I mean, it's-
But that's why I'm seeking
It's
people on what
not
you're
just
doing.
about applying, it's about
Yeah.
following the rules
No,
of the
yeah.
grants
just-
for a
yeah.
long time.
Yes.
I would
Yeah.
love to help you in any way I can as far as the arts part of it. Like you and Kira, I'm very arts oriented.
Mhm.
That's what I was doing.
Awesome,
So please accept my.
indeed. And I'm open to hearing from all of you, and I'm waiting to get committee together on this. Like I said, I've talked to people all over the world that do this, and there are all kinds of venues that are completely run off of grant money. Completely run off grant money, completely run by
You
nonprofits.
should ask them.
And I had to start those conversations.
Yeah.
They're the ones that told me to come bring this up.
Yeah.
Okay, right? We're playing in Denver, Colorado at a place called 97. It is 100%, it's a venue, 100% run off grant money.
But it's probably a nonprofit.
Could very well be.
And so
Could
that
very well
may
be.
end up being
Okay.
something that happens here, which is, again, a much longer, bigger conversation.
Yes.
But in summary, it's like the Friends of the Sheridan Park.
Yeah.
Right?
And
so
that's wonderful.
you,
I would almost
as
say
non,
through them.
yeah, so some sort of existing nonprofit, or you create your own nonprofit, the city sets up a contract for the usage of it and what that looks like.
Excellent. So,
And
so
so here's a grant for a nonprofit for $150,000 or something like this.
But it'd have to go through a nonprofit.
You know,
Yeah,
it has to go
excellent.
through a nonprofit.
excellent.
Yeah.
That's easy enough.
So then
Yeah.
you're sitting with friends of the parks.
I love that. You just solved a huge problem, didn't you? See, I don't know what the path is to do this. I just know how to get on stage and make a fool of myself. But I'm learning as we go the path to do this.
Kindred spirit.
But that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good info.
I would say I would contact the friends,
Yep.
and they'll probably say, yeah, we need more volunteers to be able to take on more of this kind of stuff, but that might.
What are they
so-
called? Friends of Sheridan Park, what's it called?
Friends of the
Vivian
Sheridan
and-
Park and Recreation.
Vivian that was here,
Oh, yes.
and
Yeah.
Friends of Sheridan
Parks and Recreation.
Parks or.
Parks and Recreation.
Oh, I thought it was just parks, was it?
No, Friends of the Sheridan Parks and
Wendell, remember,
Recreation.
is you have a subgroup that you're gonna need to post your meetings, and so just send the dates in Omega and I can create an agenda, one
I
of us.
don't have a committee yet.
I know,
Right.
but once we're dreaming, right?
Yes, we're dreaming.
And then you'll need to take some minutes.
Well, if you're talking to yourself, you gotta write that down.
It's like, Johnny Ketchup?
Oh, did you see the video we did for you guys all got here? Oh, you didn't, did you? Maybe Jill will show it to you later.
Oh my.
Okay, awesome. Okay, and, alright, so anybody out there, any public comment?
I think Lucy.
Lucy, did I? What about, did you?
Were you gonna talk about your spelling?
Oh, well,
Or that the mural.
the actual.
You have to come to the
I
podium.
might have to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your voice on the microphone.
Have to hear it from there, I know.
Okay,
Listen, some of us in the teams.
So the revitalization, I volunteered my building for, if you guys go to McMinnville where there's Borsman's.
your hand is back.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. You make me wanna use my soft voice. Anyway, there's a sign on Borsman's in McMinnville. And it's directional, and it has little fingers and it has arrows.
Mhm.
It has fingers and it has arrows. And the young man that made that sign, I've talked to him, he's come down here, he came to an art committee, cause Heidi's met him. They do dog walls out of the dowels, which are really cool murals. And I like that personally, I like that kind of mural, define that to me. Help define the murals, but how they're done in the dowels.
Well, it's called wall dogs, so go home and watch YouTube, wall dogs in the Dalles, that's your homework.
They're pretty cool.
Like, the cherries on it look like they're like.
Wall dogs?
Wall
Yeah.
dogs.
W-A-L-L.
And it reflects around their community, so they're kind of boasting of their community. So I volunteered my building, but I saw the Borsman's is on wood. And that young man came down here, spoke to the art committee. The revitalization, because they're doing murals, this is a little bit different because they're on boards. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that when I went to their last meeting in January, they authorized to have one made in Sheridan. I'm gonna have it on the building where the Red Lizard's at, on the corner of Bridge and Sheridan Road. It's gonna look just like the one in Mac, the colors, because I think it'll go good with my building. There's also like a burgundy and a gold in there, which I really like those colors. And the fingers, it was not contracted, but his bid included only 6 between fingers, and that's the one thing, Heidi, when we were doing this little thing back and forth.
Oh, you only have 6?
Yeah, I only have 6. And but probably I could get a couple more, but I'd have to have it okayed through the revitalization because they have committed to pay for this.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Yes, because I was trying to help through that art grant, but it kind of went down.
Yeah.
There's another plan.
A train mural to be on the back of that building, and we didn't get it this year, but Counselor Liz Hodgins is going to contact the grant agency and learn how we can be more competitive.
Actually, it's gonna run along the whole Sheridan Road above the windows at the end of the alley. And that's where the train was gonna be, the train was gonna be coming at you like this, and then it was gonna trail. And down there, it would have different advertisements of different segments of Sheridan to its history. And, but on the front of it, it's gonna have directionals. And, actually Heidi came up with a couple others. The only thing I could think of, because now there's 8, but our ideas right now. But for example, one of them I wanted, it would say Ocean Beaches, you know, obviously Southside Park or whatever you wanna call it. I think the RV heading down Sheridan Road, because it's Sheridan Road and Bridge Street, would be for the RV park and for the community garden. And also there should be one in the opposite direction for the Riverside. I'm gonna see if I can get more for my money. Riverside / Pavilion, something to that effect, because I would get 2 in 1. And you know, then Heidi was talking about our city park also and the Veterans Park. And I noticed in McMinnville, because I read theirs, they had a fire station, but you know, you have to eliminate something. But this should be coming hopefully by this spring or by summer, because the neat thing about this guy is he can build these all in-house. Doesn't have to wait for the weather to be nice, he doesn't have to wait for anything, and he does everything, and the price of that was $1,200.
Nice.
But that was with 6 signs only, so it was like pick and choose. There's a couple that I thought would be good, and now Heidi just messed with my mind with a couple more.
Sorry.
But I really think this, and you don't have to call it Southside Park, but it can, you know, it could be that. I don't know what it'd take for him to change it, you know, but it's a great park. And I did like the idea of recreation, because it's going to be kind of like a recreation
Yeah.
facility, and that has bigger boom than park,
That's
you know?
neat,
That's a well, I think Ernie mentioned that too, though, at a meeting, and it just kind of opens the door for optional, like the amphitheater and the it just covers everything.
I think a lot of us feel that way.
And but it's gonna have, you know, that's that's the big stable part, but then figure out the other part that you might wanna do with it. So I'm very excited, hopefully, with this new sign that we'll have on South Bridge and Sheridan Road. And hopefully, we get that Hyder building done, you know, we just keep pushing our downtown area and the pavilion and the Southside Park. I think it'll be
It's gonna
great.
be a good year.
I think it should be a very interesting, good year. I also wanted to just say, and they left, which I'm really sorry.
Hey, you're still talking.
I know. Yes, no, just leave it, just leave it.
So Lucy, it's how we pick it up for the record.
Alright, so.
There we go.
You got this, Lucy.
Hey. I just really wanted you guys to be able to encourage and support the Friends of the Park. Because some people in our community don't give them a lot of, you know, validate them. And look at all the great things they're doing for you guys. And especially with Forest River, and you know what that's like, 'cause they were locked up in a freaking building, not even being used. And for them to come back out to build that relationship so that they might even bring more. These Friends of the Parks are just great people, and they have a great thing going on at the end of Sheridan Road. They just need more time than some people are willing to give them. And you can't grow anything in January. So just remember to stick up for them because they're really a great, you know, right now it's almost just the two of them and maybe three more, I
Yay.
think.
And we got Rich.
And do they? So, I mean, they're just a very small selection, much smaller than what's sitting here today. And for them to give money, didn't they give money to the Parks and Rec for something at the big city park?
There was supposed, I think there was some money that's supposed to go for railing on the skate park.
And so anyway, but here they are, just a
We got
little,
a grant for that when I was part of the group,
you know, and here they are, just a little teeny group, and they're giving their money away, and yet they're not really getting fed back, and trust me, you know what that's like, Alicia, you know, you give up, but you gotta get fed too, and you know that too. So, just really, support those guys when, you know, people say, who are they, or we don't need that, because we do need them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Right.
Do we have anybody online?
No.
Alright. You got
Just one person.
one person online. Oh, okay. Yeah,
That's it.
just no public comments?
No.
Getting my board out, I don't know. Nope. Alright. Lucy has to find.
Alright, our next section we have is city manager report.
Oh. Yes, I feel like I've been recording all night. You have my report, it's on page 57, the last page in your booklet here, your packet. We are very excited, we're getting to the point where we're going to be submitting, or we're getting to the planning stage. Okay, let me start here. Hello, everyone. So we have a Safe Routes to School grant that we finished at the end of last year, and that was for planning, or study really, about how kids are getting to school and if it's safe to walk or roll, is what they call it. And we now are gonna work with the school district to whittle down that list to apply for a construction grant. We can't get everything on the list, of course, but we're gonna have to figure out what is the most important. And we can work with ODOT, that section of ODOT ahead of time to make sure that it's a competitive grant. It is much more competitive if you go through their planning process, which we did and completed, than it is to just jump right into asking for the construction money. So we're very hopeful, and we had pretty high scores of need, I should say. So that's sad, but it's good for grant writing. So we will, there's part one, which is due by March 25th, and then there's a second part, you know, you have to be invited to apply for the second part, which is a much longer process. So hopefully
Ask
we
a
get that.
question about that. What kind of construction would be needed?
Sidewalks.
Sidewalks, okay.
Sidewalks are a majority of what this will, of what I imagine we will go for, but there's all kinds of other things that were included there for safety, for like some crosswalk, some beacons, some paint on the ground, like, and some of this stuff doesn't sound like much, but done really well for school districts, it can be costly. And so we'll probably go for a mix of sidewalks and some of the signage. But once again, we're gonna work with the school to make sure that we're all on the same page as we apply for that. And we may even come back to you, probably at your February meeting and have a support letter, because this group, I think, would be a great one to submit a support letter, or to get that signature from. Let's see, the street sweeping naming contest, I'm very excited about this. One of the things I don't know if people know I'm passionate about, which is stormwater management, and it's very important. It's very important that we keep out all of litter and debris and dog poop and all of that out of our waterways, right? And out of the dirt in general. And so we bought a new street sweeper, and we are so happy to have it. It does amazingly, it's like night and day, okay? The last one was put together, I said, by Band-Aids and some gum and some hopeful thinking. That was it. And the new one came in, the motor died on the old one. So we're so lucky. And the street sweeper is vital. I don't know if people realize that it's a part of a plan. It's a part of a larger plan. It's a part of what's required from the DEQ to do your stormwater management. So even in smaller cities, they have to pay for that service to come in. But it's very important that we all start to educate each other, especially our youth, about the importance of picking up litter. It's not just because it's ugly. It has an environmental effect. And so if we want to continue to have safe drinking water, that's where it starts with. Is us doing our part to keep cigarette butts out and everything else. And even just some of the particulates off of the ground from the cars and the oil, right? And so our street sweeper is so amazing now. It does so much. And it is able to it has a dewatering feature, which is really amazing. So what that does is it takes all of the wet leaves and it squishes that, and so it's able to compartmentalize and keep the debris and then get rid of some of the water out of it, so that you make less loads out to dump. Anyways, so I could go on about street sweepers, bioswales, all kinds of stuff. So I'm very excited that the principal of the elementary school, Principal Adam Delali, he has, we picked him up and took him in the street sweeper for a ride in the parking lot, and so we said, "You're captured. Now, can you talk about how fun that was for you?" And he was like, "That was really fun." So we took pictures of him, and he was very involved and engaged. We had some programs to show him, and so the kids are going to, around Earth, I think we're gonna gear it all up, but at the end, when it gets to Earth Day, they're gonna have a contest to name our street sweeper in the town. And so it's very fun, just fun. But it does start with the kids. Kids are very big at even reminding their parents to behave well. So that's where we're going with that. And it should not take up too much time for us here at the city, but we gave all the literature needed to the school district, and the teachers are putting together their programs for the different age levels. So anyways, that's one of the things that's really fun that we're really excited about. Do you have any questions for me? Or anything going on? Nothing?
No, I just texted you something cute, but.
No. Nothing? All right. So
The
Bernie, I can
kids
see
are gonna
back to
name it?
class. Yeah, the kids
That's
are
like
gonna
a-
name it.
Yeah.
I didn't come up with that idea in Oregon
Matthew, the
City.
little street sweeper.
In Oregon City, the kids came up with a name which was like, what is it, C3 Sweepio?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
better than Matthew, the little.
Yes, and so we'll see what our kids come up with.
Optimus Prime.
But we're so we're excited because we're gonna let them see it in action. We're gonna have an assembly and then let them go out at different times to see it running and in action, and then let them look inside. There's like a billion buttons inside, so it's like a cockpit almost.
Yeah.
So
Once
Very
it
fun.
gets its name, will they put the name on it?
oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna have some like
There's-
letters with
I think
whiz
because
cricket.
Michigan
library.
has snow plow naming contests, or so there's been
Oh, it's
some stuff.
Michigan. I was like,
I think it's
what?
Michigan or like
Minnesota.
or Minnesota. So there's been a few that I've seen in the, they've had some really cute names,
Yeah,
so.
and doing the education piece behind that is what goes.
Alright.
Once you name it, I'd like my photos by it and I
Right.
would donate some money.
You want your name on, you want
No,
your
no,
photo
I
on the screen?
let me clarify again. Once you name it, you get a name, it's on there. I wanna stand by it, get a picture,
Yes.
and then I'll donate some money. It's a fundraiser.
Oh.
Yes, come meet the sweeper.
Meet the sweeper, get your picture, and
That's
there you go.
Right? That can go into our street fund.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'd be happy to donate for, yes.
I love it.
At Sheridan days, at
Yes.
Sheridan hometown
Hometown
days.
day.
We,
A dog to climb up on and
we
sit
can
there
get
for the photo.
I'm liking that.
yeah,
Yeah,
generating,
I'm seeing like some sparkly letters and the street sweeper, you know, he's kind of a, like a, I don't know if he's gonna go for some sparkly letters.
Okay.
So that'll be a
I like,
fun
oh, that's
conversation.
good. Okay,
It's all we have time to be fine.
yeah. Alright, so now the last, getting to the end here. I know we have at least one committee member comment, so,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Omega, I'm sorry to bother you, could you show some pictures of the skate park? And I received 4 emails in support of resurfacing the Sheridan Skate Park. They wrote, and I'll read maybe a couple of them if it doesn't, I won't take too long. As you know, and this is from Drew Melgren, he grew up here in the 90s, and he and his friends used the park all the time and skateboarded and the whole thing. But he says, as you know, I have been an enthusiastic supporter of the skateboard park in Sheridan since it was built in the 90s. That being said, I would love to see it last and continue to be enjoyed by the community. The current state of the concrete is not good. It is extremely rough and hard to ride, which not only adds to the difficulty of riding, but also creates more potential for injury if someone falls down. And that fact alone is why most parents do not want their children down there. That rough concrete is dangerous. The current state of the skateboard park is also very hard on shoes and anything that comes in contact with it. A smooth surface is ideal for skate parks. When the concrete on a sidewalk is smoother than the skate park, you know you have a problem. So as an inexpensive solution would be to have the skate park resurfaced, either by volunteers or hire a concrete crew to do the resurfacing needed. I feel this idea would bring new life to the old park. This park was so important to my friends and I at a young age. I'd like to see it do the same thing for kids today. Thank you for listening. And that's, and I'll read one more from, I believe, Shad I believe is his name. Okay, I heard that there was some discussion being held about the current situation of the skate park in Sheridan. I grew up in Sheridan, and honestly, to say that the skate park was not only one of the places that kids had as an option to play on and learn was a positive hobby. In order to keep this open for future use, it really needs to be resurfaced. It doesn't really need to be a complete reconstruction. These facilities are crucial for the future generations. They need positive activities to occupy their time, otherwise they will fall into temptation of underage drinking and drugs. This community needs their skate park, ball fields, and basketball courts. Okay, I won't read the other, but there's 2 other support letters, one from Ben Baker, he's also grew up here, and the other is, I believe her name is
Stacy Don.
Thank you, yes, Daisy Don. So they're all saying, please, look at the condition of the skate park. And Daisy mentioned too that her niece fell and she was 3 years old. She fell when she was just running around and scraped her knees and stuff, so please consider,
So like that, I don't know if you can go back to this picture, so when I mentioned about a railing, there used to be a rail on the back part of that for this, and then there's the rail on the opposite side, which is taller. But the money that the Friends received, this was a few years ago, we had applied for a grant and received a $200 mini grant from First Federal to go towards the railing on the park. And I do know that they were told at one point that something had to happen, the concrete was not good enough to be able to replace the railing. And that's why there's still no railing on that side. And that was one of the first big pushes that the Friends group was going to, was getting this skate park, the railings to be fixed and for it to be safe again. So I'm pretty sure that some of the money, or they can even provide more money to go towards the resurfacing as well.
Karen, will you figure that out with Vivian?
I'll contact Vivian.
yeah, I mean, Drew is is the guy now, he's a grown person, but he is the one that during hometown days got his friends together and were giving free skateboards away and drinks and stuff and trying to teach. And he is now saying that I can't do that for this coming year unless it gets resurfaced, it's not safe.
Yeah,
And
with
so-
it not being safe, that's raising some really big concerns, and so
I
have
get
to
it.
look
I
into
get the
it.
concept.
May end up being
But-
that it gets closed. So the city of Sheridan only has a few $1,000s for its park fund. I had reached out to Dreamland a while ago, and I don't know exactly what got lost there, if I had pushed it off to somebody, it's been a while ago. So I need to look into that, Sandy's taken some notes,
Good,
and so we will look into that. But if it is in as bad a shape as you were laying out, then we have to have it reviewed
that's
closely,
what,
and it
yeah.
could be a lot worse than.
I took pictures, that's my pictures from the other day I went to the park.
I see what you're saying, but I have to have a much
Sure.
closer
Right.
image. So I'll be visiting, and
Mhm.
there will be other people we have to look at it. And it could be that we don't have enough money to get it fixed and that it has to be closed.
Okay.
I
Which
was-
could be a
I
very
can
sad ending to this right now,
I do have an idea.
Sure.
I did,
which is never the fun part of the job.
well, I do have an idea. I went to get gas tonight for the meeting. The gentleman that pumps my gas over here, local guy, one of his friends he grew up with, who's from here, lives in Whitmanville, he's a champion. He talked about this specifically. Parr, I think his last name is Parr. Not this guy, the guy that
What is
he is
it?
a skate park aficionado. He does things like this. He will even help make money to make this happen.
Yeah.
I can get more information from him.
Okay.
If, with your permission, I will go there with that. Because he brought it up today and I was not listening really, I was tired, but.
So resurfacing with concrete's probably expensive, is
He
that
was
what?
saying though that this guy might.
We're already over budget in our park fund right now for this.
Would the
for the
friends
maintenance.
do a fundraiser if we asked?
They probably would, I'll put that in my email,
Okay,
cause I
we're
was gonna
not
ask
far
for
over
it.
budget, but
Okay.
we're,
And let
I
me
get it, I
process.
really do, because, yeah,
but the first place we need to start is we do need to have the evaluation done. And I need to check in with a few people that are in charge of that, like our insurance. And then simultaneously, Sandy can help me by reaching out to Dreamland, and we do need to get a quote for what that looks like, how much money we're talking about. But once again, everything takes just a little bit of time. Dreamland Park, I think they're outside, like in Lincoln City is their headquarters, so we'll see what that looks like. I've used that company many, many times, and I know that they're a good company. We always need to be careful and make sure that people have the right insurance thresholds, which is what I also have checked with our insurance agent. So
and
anytime
then,
anybody does construction,
I'll bring up too,
it throws a lot of people out.
I talked to a mom there and she was saying that this is a separate discussion, but if the city could put more chips around the play structures.
That is
Yeah.
already in the works.
Oh, good.
That's very
Yes.
hard. in the
Okay.
works.
So, and I'm trying to think, oh, and also, I'm gonna suggest to the Sheridan revitalization that maybe murals in the park would be a good idea too.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that
Because
was
the
already-
park, truthfully, when I walked around it, looked kinda dingy, it needs some pizzazz.
We're already on that.
I don't recall any of them saying, put a mural in the park.
I do.
I
Do
do remember a while ago a discussion about
Okay.
like
Well,
either fixing the
we did.
current mural that is on the back of the little kitchen area or
Right.
something, but I know that there's been some discussion in the
Yeah,
past.
I'll just put it on the revitalization possible mural list.
Yeah,
if
I
that's-
talked about having maybe students or somebody paint those, the parking blocks.
Oh, yeah.
Those cement.
Oh, that'd be nice too. It-
Yeah, with like a theme or something.
Yeah, it looks kinda
It's
sad.
this time of the year too.
I
This
know,
time of the
yeah.
year is really hard.
And then again, on a future look-see, cause I know I mentioned to Omega, I know it's expensive, but because we get so much rain, there are low spots in the park and there are huge puddles. I mean, in the grass area and stuff like that, so that's a long-term goal, is look at some way of trying to get the water.
So next time I'm gonna put into your agendas how much money the parks have.
Yes.
And then
Okay, I'll give that name.
and we'll know how
Okay,
sad it is.
Cause he was saying the guys at the big ones.
I mean, truthfully,
Basically like,
yeah. From what I saw, little kids were running back and forth in the area, but they weren't up on any of the stuff. But they were, all I saw that day were little kids running around in it. And then the other comment the mom said to me was, can you also looking at the play structures, cause she does have an older child that has a disability. And he's a teenager and he cannot really play on the structures the way they are. So, that is also a long-term goal, is to replace those structures, play structures there, that,
Those are fairly new, I
oh,
thought.
they look in sad shape too, and those little hobby things that
Well,
go back.
those hobby things have been, those have been on the
So we
list
just
of
had an
me too.
evaluation from a
Oh,
park
really?
person.
So they won't be repainted and redone? No, they go, okay.
We just had an evaluation from a park person, so
Okay.
we're working on what all that really means.
Okay, I'm done with that, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you, I'm
Okay.
glad you're getting out and that you're talking to people, especially people that use the parks.
Well, yes,
It's
first
very-
I got one email, next thing I know, there's 4.
Cool, they're all coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kate.
Okay.
Alright, anything else, Chad? No? Alright, then,